his hands. Doesn't feel like flying. When you take his breath away, he might as well be dying. You're trapped in his cage. She thought if he thinks of it leaves, he'll forget the message. He doesn't hear my pleas. He just starts screaming. And he just bore me to death. There it is. There's the bell. Why can't he just bore me to death? He just bored me to death. He just bored me to death. Can't he just bore me to death? Fuck. Hello. I have so many unnecessary tabs open. What the fuck happened here? What happened?
Say that it is over, 'cause that wouldn't be true. So thank you. Oh, thank you. Say that I wasted my time, 'cause I'm ill by you. And I can't say that I'm glad it is over, 'cause that wouldn't be true. So thank you. Oh, thank you. All I can say is thank you.
I can't tell if someone just knocked on my door or not. Also, I'm so sorry you're hearing my AC on, but it is incredibly hot because we do not have control over our heating in our dorm. Well, you will get on later. But hi! Welcome, chat! You are probably reading the title being like, why the fuck are you doing this quiz today? You're supposed to do something else. I slept all day yesterday. That is not a joke. I went to go get V from the train station, and then Wayward and Nick. And then, L. Okay, listen, the funny thing is, I love this class, I just hate the work that comes with this class. Because this class is so fucking interesting, like, I'm so active. When it comes to my workload, I've only turned in about 4 of the, like, 7 assignments I'm supposed to turn in. So when I tell you I'm gonna be working my ass off for this quiz, I'm gonna be working my ass off for this quiz, because I like this quiz. I looked at it one day. But yeah, I got everyone because we're having Thanksgiving together because all of us have family issues and we don't want to deal with that shit. So everyone came yesterday. We went to the mall, fuck around, and found out. I came back and I slept until about 7. Again, so you get the YouTube videos until I'm done. I literally was just watching this because it popped up. Ow! My ring just slapped me in the face. Absolutely not. No, thank you. Wait, no. There is something I looked up yesterday. Let me go to, hold up. Let me go to another tab to pull this video up. Because I think it's so interesting, and that if you want to become a streamer, don't do this shit! Ow! Keep injuring myself. FNAF? We could do that later, because this quiz is going to take a while. Again, I'm gonna say this, I don't usually pray downfalls about people, but if you're gonna do stupid shit, you gotta do stupid shit. I got the link.
About tracing the emote art. This story keeps getting wilder as today we check in with Tostify, a whale VTuber
I know
who hit
almost not everything about
29,000
FNAF.
followers on Twitter.com, but whose account now doesn't exist.
I think it's funny because you are literally not the first person
happened?
to say this shit.
This is an individual who did have real
Why are you
fans
still
who were
following
making
me?
real fan logos and
No,
also wonderful
no,
real
get
fan
that.
art. The trouble began days ago when Tost had posted this to Twitter.com without these red circles, saying somewhere
I'm not
in
talking
an
about
alternate
you, I'm
universe
talking about
where
other people in my
Tostify
actual
is a
real life
female.
that I want
Eventually,
to
many
fucking,
commenters would
stab.
ask, is this
Not gonna do it, they're
AI-generated
just
artwork? To which
stupidly
Tost
annoying.
would deny. This bringing us over to Sun Juan, VTuber and video editor, sharing this.
I
hope
need to
I'm
clean
not
my fucking desk. I
misunderstanding
need to clean my room in
something
general,
here.
but I'm gonna
Providing
wait for the
screenshots,
maniac to slap me in the
Tost being
face.
asked, who's the amazing artist who made this? And the whale VTuber replying, Tommy. They sadly don't have a Twitter, so I cannot tag them, but I got it off a Scab. Scab being a Japanese commissioned website for artwork that does actually require their artists to have a Twitter account. Further oddities in the artwork would then be
Nah, so if you're wondering what the
showing
quiz I'm
off a number of
taking,
errors that
it's for
is
my
often
anthropology
seen
class.
in
If you don't know what
AI-generated
anthropology is, you
artwork.
basically get to learn
Toss
about
then
the
deleting
outside. You
that
get to
tweet
basically
and just days
learn about the
before
world
saying AI art is
from an
cool,
outside
but
perspective that's not
cringe
just
if
American.
You try to play it off as actual art. Even
So
more
I
oddities in the
have,
artwork
I'm
would
literally
then
on
be
the first part of this
highlighted,
quiz.
and
I have
no
like most
scab
of like
request
the
for
A's
this artwork
done
could
because
be
the B's are
found.
pretty easy. I
Although
just
it
have
was
to
made
go through
clear
like
that
the
these
multiple
requests can
things.
be hidden, being pointed out just so we
But
don't
part B is gonna fuck
misunderstand
me
about
over
other
because
genuine
I'm doing
scab
I'm
users.
doing
And this continued on as here
like
we
a
have
culture and like
Okamen,
body art, which
Wolf
I'm
Mom,
going
who
to get
loves kids in
heavily
her
into
dungeon.
because
Wait,
I
sharing
love
extremely
looking at the
disappointing when
history of
people
body
call
art.
out something for being bad and then doing the same thing themselves, saying to Toss, just say it's AI art. No need to lie that you got it from an artist. There's nothing wrong with having some fun with AI. It's the fact that you lied despite advocating for the same thing. You have a big following. Don't do dodgy things and expect no one to notice. And then noticing that Toss was hiding replies on Twitter Twitter, stating, "Dude, I can't with you," hiding a reply asking if it's AI art, then lying that you commissioned this art from an artist is not it. We even deleted the reply. Just say it's AI art. No need to be dodgy.
Ooh,
Toss
ow,
would then go
ew,
on
ew.
to
Fuck,
offer
why'd I take
up
so long to
an
swallow that?
apology twit longer, then taking that down, offering up an even longer apology twit longer, and then as evidenced here by Daifuku, stating, "Hey guys, all good things come to an end, so I'll be doing a graduation stream on October 25th.
Sorry,
3
this
p.m.
just
Eastern."
interests me
But then
so
afterwards,
badly
also
because it
tweeting
popped
out,
up.
"Got canceled.
It popped up
Let's
on my-
talk
on
about
my,
it." Link in the replies. This
on my
tweet
private
getting the
on my
interest of
private
Vienna
YouTube,
of
and it just
Cloud9,
showed up, and I was like, this
implying
looks
this
interesting.
guy was pretending to be in Cloud9 last year. He got really upset when I posted a tweet joking about how he didn't even know how to properly write our name. And yes, things VTuber Say did report on that event when it occurred, as here we have a screenshot of that instance. The account title saying C9
I'm also
Hostify
hungry, so if you hear
and
me, like,
streamer
moving
for
around and stuff,
Cloud9.
I'm getting
This is
food.
also important as it points to another
Genda?
account at It's
Genda.
Celium.
How do I explain
That'll be
this in, like, a
important later.
non-fucked up
Intersins,
way?
the
But I also have to
Oni
think about this
VTuber,
logistically.
debuting on January 7th, sharing this. He has one of my emotes traced
Ooh,
too.
that's all
Don't
nice.
forget about how he had like 20,000 followers before he even made any content. Weird, crazy, nutty marketing.
What am I watching?
This is around the point
You were
Vienna
watching
had
what not to
just
do as a
alerted me
streamer,
directly, as we have
especially
even
as a
more posts
VTuber, because
about
your
this,
shit will
led
get
by
caught
Cabo,
real
giving
fast.
us a
So you're watching a
stunning
streamer
4-part,
literally lose his
dramatically
entire
beautiful
career
epic
and
Neo
in like
at
24
Nyoko
hours.
Wado has been diligently
Because I just thought
following
this was
story,
fucking
saying
hilarious.
further
I ain't a
how to
streamer.
tip off
Well,
the quote-unquote
in
artist,
general, don't
saying
do
it's
this
crazy
shit.
because
Don't be a
Hostify
shitty
one of the
person.
two. Whilst this sounds believable, it's not. The rest of their portfolio is
No, I just
likely
think this is fucking
also
hilarious, 'cause
traced
this man
with
lost his
streamer
career in
art,
literally
post-work
24
in
hours.
progress, and the style and
The
skill
lies caught
ranges
up real
wildly.
fast.
It's also worth mentioning that
Yeah,
they
how the
know
fuck
that
do I
tracing
explain
is
gender in
bad,
a
considering
non-fucked
their
up
terms
way?
of service states that no one is to edit, trace, or steal
'Cause
their
I can-
art.
I
There
can
were also
explain
further
it in a
accusations, such as Tossify
less
is the one that
fucked up
uses
way
bots for auto
becomes
liking
a menace
comments
to
to get an
society.
interaction.
Honestly, I'm very
Flag
tempted
for
to put
sure.
that
Then along with
gender.
being accused of follow bait.
Because like, again, I love my teacher. I just don't like how she like does her PowerPoints. Because like, I'll be looking through the notes, which my notes are like
accounts
many
until
pages
he was
long.
followed back, and then later unfollowing them for good. We also have this from Nitori, just another
So if
Tostify
you put the
tracing
definition of
moment,
gender
showing off
sheet-
these
actually,
character
hold up,
designs
wait a
from
second.
Sonic, and
Gave
then
me a
here
resource.
Tostify's
Yes.
character
Ooh,
design.
take me to the
And
page.
speaking
Where are
of
you taking me?
similarities, others have pointed out that the
Where are you taking me?
Tostify
There we go,
background
okay.
is similar to yet another male VTuber. That being for this lovable monkey VTuber. That's right, it's Kenji at Sun Kenji, sharing Tostify had a fake hate DM saying, quote, "You won't blow up like Kenji, and you all ate that up." And he was laughing on stream about me getting hate for it. This being the supposed fake hate DM tweet, with Kenji even back in March saying it's clearly
Actually,
fake.
hold up,
This
I
getting a
can-
reply from Chibi at Chibidoki, sharing,
There's
"I've
a
had a bad
website
experience
she
with
played.
him too, but I was too shy to unfollow. I'm really sorry
Okay,
you got
broadly
hate,
genders
dude."
instead of
That
social
leading
construct
to
roles,
this
behavior,
tweet
activities,
from
attributes,
Kenji
yada, yada, yada.
creating his
Okay,
own
found it.
fake hate DM, saying, "You won't blow up like Tostify," leading to a reply from Mary, "I'm so confused right now, Kenji." And then later, I was about to tweet my support, and then I realized
Actually, no,
this
I-
seems
I
like
actually
something
know.
Kenji would not care about in the slightest. Yes, it's all
Damn it,
fun
I
and
need to fix
games
that.
when
I
you
know how to
confuse
get that where
Mary,
those
but then
emotes
we
work.
had this
I
update
just
from
keep fucking
Toss, stating, "Actually, I think I'm gonna skip out on the graduation stream and just call it a day here. Thanks everyone for all the fun memories. Sadly, we
Is it
didn't
stream
get to
black?
meet
Yes, it
some
is.
of the
Oh my
goals
god,
we
I hate
set
when that
out.
does it.
Maybe in another lifetime. Make sure to chase your dreams. Tostify." So yes, at this time,
You may have
the
to log into
Twitter
Twitch or
account
Scream.
is effectively gone. The TikTok account still exists, but all the videos have been removed. And
Thank
others like
God.
Miranai Mimi have shared other experiences, saying that while they were pleasant, plans did fall through. And now, if you remember that account from before, it's Celium, a Dragon King VTuber who was accused of being an alternate account for Tostify, jokingly tweeting out they were Tostify, deleting that, and now saying, "How do I prove to everybody that I'm not Tostify?" With Esper at Esperload sharing, "You fake being C9 and partner on here too. Even if you're not him, you're an NFT bro initially to top it off." That's right, it's the same song and dance, claiming to be a part of C9, saying streamer at Cloud9, and also that they had 250,000 supporters, linking to Tostify's account and their own bio.
I can see what you're
and
writing.
Also faking their Twitch partnership, asking
fuck,
left or
where
right
is it?
which
Damn
profile
it.
picture is better. As here we had a prior bio.
I'll look at
NFT
it later.
promoter and marketing agent.
'Cause I know
At the
how
time
to
saying
fix
they
it, I
only
just don't
had
know
200,000 plus
where that is at
supporters.
the
Follow
moment.
for daily hashtag NFT giveaways.
God damn it.
Trust the
Mouse
process.
disappeared.
Last night,
There we go.
Celium would take to
I
stream
am
on
what happened.
Twitch, a channel on which Tostify
there
is a
is a
moderator
second
on,
tweet.
and
Virtual
stating
features. I'm pretty
that
sure
one
this
of his
one-
critics, Sens, was dodging his invites on both
Surgery-
Twitter and on Discord, with
surgery
Celium going on to
is
show his own
extremely-
private Discord and private Twitter account
a part-
DMs. At this time in the stream,
part of the
Tostify would
feature.
actually join the call,
That
stating
is
at this
not-
time he has nothing left to lose,
that
but
is
also pointing
not
out that he was
considered-
trending
not
on Twitter. And at this point,
considered
Sins did join the
desirable.
call for a very wild stream.
Fuck.
Very wonderfully
I-
captured
what's
by
the name?
Worms,
What's the
YouTuber
name?
Apex
Forgetting the
Pub
name.
and Arkov Rat.
Surgery is
We'll link
extremely
that
hard
video
features not
down
considered
below.
desirable to
As
the,
here we have Worms on the bottom
It's not the
left
west-
watching
the
the
west.
stream of Celium here in the
No, 'cause
middle.
that's for
with
outs-
Sins
that's
then
for
beginning to
outside
ask
perspective!
questions. Firstly asking to Tosti, where did you get
Screech of
20,000
pain.
followers before debut? Where did they come from? Tostify would share he's been a Fortnite creator since
Oh my God.
2017.
Alright, 'cause
The
I don't
account
wanna
that
say
was
Western
actually
stuff.
verified
Yeah, no, like
on
the-
Twitter.com
oh my God, that
was his
Western
out.
work.
With Sens then questioning, why would you use
Ow!
another account for your VTuber self instead of your verified Twitter account? Then once again asking, how on your VTuber Twitter account did you get 20,000 followers? Tostify then would say he was getting people asking and
No,
saying
yeah,
that
never mind, it
someone
is
was
Western.
impersonating him, meaning his VTuber account, and so he changed his @
Western.
handle on his
Western.
verified Twitter account, which
Western
took away
quote?
his verification. Then when asked, where is this out account? What is the handle? Tostify would say he doesn't even
There we go.
know anymore. That's right, he doesn't remember the new handle for his supposed out account that was verified by Twitter, a process that even Hololive VTubers fight tooth and nail to achieve. At this point, Celium then interjected saying, oh, I had a verified Twitter account too. And when asked how, Tostify would say, quote, that's what you get for being in the Fortnite community, explaining
I'm gonna tell you this. I fucking watched this entire stream that is in the background. When I tell you that that stream is a shit show in itself, that thing is a shit show in itself. But it's such a glorious shit show because you can tell that the lies are catching up to him, and it's amazing.
Tostify, when asked, was put on this pro team roster. Sens then cut to the chase asking how much did it cost
Knew a guy who
you,
knew a guy.
Tostify, to be put on that roster, with Tosti saying like $50. This then supposedly allowing his Twitter account to be verified. Sens then would go on to ask about another topic, that being about view botting of Tostify streams. With Tosti saying, quote, it wasn't from me. And when Celium was asked about deleting VODs, saying, I cannot confirm or deny. The topic then moved over to the traced artwork on
What is this
emotes. With Tosti saying he was the victim and that he just
Sorry,
hired the
something just,
artist.
like, piqued
Sens
my
then
interest on
pointed
this. I
out
don't
it
think
was
we talked about
Tosti
this,
that
so we
sent the
might have, and I
references
just do not
to
fucking
the
remember
artist.
it.
With Tosti replying, quote, I just thought emotes are emotes. And then later following up with, to be honest, I don't really care. Both Tosti and Celium continually tried to move the topic to watching older Fortnite trick shot videos they had made long ago. And at this point, Celium then began to tell Tosti to stop answering the questions. Tosti would confirm that he had paid $2,000 for his current VTuber model, and that when claiming he was in C9, saying, quote, we were brand new, we didn't know the rules, meaning that this was frowned upon in the VTuber community, but not in the Fortnite community. Celium then stated he wants to talk with Vienna of C9, with Sens pointing out that's not going to happen, and that he only agreed to talk with the two because he feels he's small enough where he can't actually help their career and give them exposure. Sens then would go on to ask Tosti, why are you quitting if you didn't do anything wrong? Tosti then saying he didn't want to go live and then get swatted. Further saying he got multiple DMs and emails with his physical address, quote unquote, over this whole fiasco. At that point, Celium shared about his Twitter account that was verified that, oh, it also had become unverified, and not sharing what that account was. Tosti on the defense at that point would state, all I did was lie about the AI art. But then Sens pointed out earlier that he admitted to lying about tracing the emote artwork. And when asked about follow baiting, Tosti then had to have it defined to him, with Celium then saying, what is wrong
Here's
with that? And then
here's
vaguely
your,
threatening
nice
to kick
little
Sens
thing.
from the
Don't
call, with
fucking
Celium
trace
defending
art.
his
God
behavior,
damn it.
saying he was rusty to streaming, and Tosti defending his answers and behavior,
I knew a guy
saying
who
he
knew a
has
guy.
fever.
That was literally his
Well,
entire
I
argument
have
to
a
why
fever
he was
too.
verified.
And then at
That was
this
his
point,
entire
out of
argument.
nowhere,
That
Tosti
went
just
on for
to
like 30
explain
minutes.
An entire other way to get verified on Twitter that he knew of, such as paying to get articles written about yourself, and even saying it's not that expensive to do. Celium at this point would state the Fortnite community is simply better than the VTubing community, with Sens countering, that's because it's filled with kids, and you can say whatever you want there. Further, Tossi would defend his traced emotes, saying he didn't intend to throw them away, as he had paid $200 for them. Topic of Celium claiming to have.
You notice how
a
everything he
250,000
says starts with
followers
2,000
in
for
his
the Model
bio,
200, and then there's
where are
the
these
like the random
followers
50.
came up,
I think that's
Celium
hilarious.
pausing and then responding, they came from up my ass. Toward the end of the stream, Celium would then ask Sens, do you want to get into the ring for some VTubing boxing? To which Sens replied, oh, I'll get in the ring with your 250,000 supporters. Again, another big thanks to Worms for that. The video link is directly below. This then leading to Sens to become trending on Twitter.com, with Chibi capturing the holy trinity of Tossify, Sens, and AI art. Later, Sens would say, by the way, I don't want anyone to attack them or harass them. The VOD being posted is only for information's sake. You can clearly tell their story changed, and there's something sus there. Even if it was funny and I quote-unquote dunked on them or whatever, don't dox or threaten anyone, please. The Celium at the time, just before this recording, saying, just finished unfollowing everyone from the softest community on Twitter. And there is an aspect.
No, it's just the VTuber. So if you're looking at your screen, and a lot of people when they report this have like scripts written, he's probably looking at a script while he's reading
I was
this.
upset with him about the AI
And it's just the where it's just the how the V model. It's just how the model's reacting.
Until I saw everything tonight. I'm heartbroken and angry. I thought he was my friend. He lied to me. Other friends, including Kuji, offering up a twit longer. Vingsfee offering up not only a twit longer, but also original screenshots asking, did you use AI art? Tossify replying, I got it from a Discord guy that said they got it from a person called Tommy, but I deleted it once I woke up. And not my first time getting canceled, so I'm not tripping. Then later, after coming clean about lying to his friend with, actually that was a lie. I did use AI art, but got scared and kept going with the lie. Lastly, other friends like Valak would offer up their own twit longers about cutting ties with Tostify, along with Kaze,
okay, I thought it was fucking insane. No, okay, that is an actual thing I have to turn
yes,
in.
we have the perfect example of this, with this VTuber finally getting the clout they wanted, but having it cost everything. So while many are asking, is this it for this whale VTuber? Others reacting are also Chelsea Allura, mermaid VTuber, stating, hey, just because Tossify was a bad representation of C-tubers, please do not generalize us all under the same umbrella.
Oh, please
we are
tell
as
me
bad
I
as he
can
is.
copy
Thank
this.
you. Along with Norin at Tuna Maho, stating this is probably a bad time to have a blue-haired live 2D model, with Vienna replying, thank God I'm pink right now. And that leading us to Val, the whale tuber, and what the actual hell with this profile picture, stating I have to rebrand as the Denny's VTuber. And also a very quick thank you to Dio at Doom Steve for the screenshot of the bio, sharing, didn't realize Tostify follows me. Yes, it's been a tale of lies, friendships broken, and outright theft, with many asking if this is the last they will see of this particular
No, because I've heard
VTuber.
that he's already
And that
back.
is all for
This has been like a month
episode.
ago,
As
but I
always,
think
feel
it's
free
funny.
to like, comment, and subscribe below. Send your VTuber
Oh
news
my God.
to our
What the
Discord.
fuck?
We record live on Twitch, and we'll have more things VTubers say for you soon.
I played Bendy in the Dark Revival in one stream.
Okay, cool,
It took
thanks,
almost
Bendy.
9 hours. But I spent a lot of time just messing around in the world because it was pretty sick and spooky.
I just spelled the quiz wrong, but
It's
that's
still
fine.
pretty long, so I timestamped all the chapters for anyone who can't watch the whole video at once. Enjoy the world of Bendy, where the ink is plentiful and the voices are annoying. Oh,
Ah,
shit,
fuck,
shit,
I hit
shit,
a button I didn't want to do.
shit.
No, yeah, like the actual... The stream that's showing in this background right now, hey, is actually really comical. If you want to waste about like 40 minutes just doing kind of whatever and just like have something in the background, go listen to that because you'll get frustrated. That's how I fucking got through building the sides of my Minecraft house. Interesting development. My roommate looks so uncomfortable in this picture. Oh my god. Sorry, my Instagram's going off because I have a group chat with like with Ray and other people. What the fuck? Hold up, no. That's to a watch later. Hold up, what the fuck? Oh? Oh? I saw this. Oh god. Why are people getting banned left and right? What the fuck is happening? What the fuck? Like, send me that link through Discord, please. I want to watch that shit. I want an hour-long video where I just hear people rant about shit. Please send me that. I need to fucking yell at Ray because again, we're all fucking busy, and I know that this bitch is moving, but it's like I want my PG girl. I want my baby. Okay, so that was the one for that. Supernaturalism. I'm very tempted to just put my gender. I'm assuming I'm gonna like. Alright, so that one was easy to find. Boop. Ah yes, I love looking at my own Discord and seeing just good old Ray being a simp. Send it in my send it to Discord. I know you can't send links in chat. We did that before and we're too lazy to figure out all the commands. Childbirth and culture. This is actually not the one I want to do. It's this bitch. Son of a bitch. I hate that there's sometimes I fucking can't copy and paste shit. There we go. Just, you know, do the other thing of just copying and pasting that shit from other things. But also, this class gets fucked. Or you can just tell me what the fuck the name is. Yeah, that's what happens when we try to send links in chat. Wait. Oh my god. Is this it? Oh yeah, that's literally the only hour one here.
There's no doubt.
Ah, my wrist just fucking popped. Ow.
This is clearly pushing the engine. There are just certain design choices that were made for this game that we don't fully understand. We were hoping that you could shed some light on those.
You can walk, you can crawl. It's equipped with some of the best environments this series has ever seen. It has a variety of gameplay styles. It even has an entire voice cast.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Coffin.
Don't like sister. Okay, we found it. It's playing right now.
I do not like Sister Location, but for the longest time...
Oh, it's this guy! I love this guy!
I would look back at all the games and think of Sister Location as a standout title in a sea of repetitive back-to-back entries. I'm sure many people feel the exact same way about it that I used to, but after replaying it recently, I would be lying if I said I enjoyed my time with it at all. It's rare you play a game that you thought so highly of for so long, only to have that false reality shattered within only an hour of playing it. Sister Location is like one of those kiddie roller coasters. When you're younger, they feel like the most crazy and insane thing ever.
Damn.
But the more time passes,
Damn.
the more you realize you're a 45-year-old man, and a small rocket ship roller coaster isn't actually very interesting at all, and is in fact quite bland and boring. Maybe you still try to fit into that now tiny seat out of pure curiosity, but the ride soon to follow is guaranteed to be one that will never live up to the expectations you set in your head when you were younger. Except, a kiddie roller coaster has significantly more value than Sister Location, because you can burn it down to scraps and metal to build something worth way more money. If you buy Sister Location, the best you can do to improve it is to install one of the many mods the community has. Oh, never mind. Very quickly, Sister Location went from one of my favorites of the original Scott games to my absolute least favorite. But why? How could such a seemingly fresh and innovative entry in a series known for getting stale at points be so bad? Well, to get into all of that, we first have to look back at every FNAF game before it to understand how we got here. Trust me, it's worth getting this out of the way now, and it won't take very long. I guarantee
I'm gonna say this, my least favorite FNAF game has to be the third one. Like, I know it has like the most like lore and it wraps up like the original trilogy. I just don't like how you literally have to do so much shit to get a true ending.
And keep a vent cam in the corner of the screen so we can make sure I'm telling the truth. FNAF 1 is seen by the general public as a spooky jump scare survival game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is, but if you've played it before, you would know that there's way more to it than that. It acts more like a strategy game where you need to keep track of a bunch of things at once to make sure you can survive the full night. To me, this is the core of Five Nights at Freddy's, at least the original run of the series. Every night, new threats are added or
I like
made more
FNAF World of
aggressive
FNAF 4.
to
That's
test the
completely
skills
fair. I
of the
just
player
snapped
and make sure they're
me
always staying
out.
on the absolute tips of their toes. Boiling down FNAF to its basic gameplay elements is essentially one gameplay loop that is constantly being made more difficult as you continue to play each night. That is Five Nights at Freddy's from a literal gameplay standpoint. This formula is then followed loosely for the next 3 titles in the series. FNAF 2 has a different gameplay loop from 1, but the structure of the game and how it increases in difficulty remains the same. Each night, more stuff is added or made harder until you beat the game.
I can't open
FNAF
this.
3, while only having one animatronic technically, introduces the Phantom slowly throughout the nights to make you play the game more carefully and strategically. Springtrap, of course, gets harder to deal with each night of the game as well. FNAF 4, once again, follows the basic boiled-down formula for a FNAF game. Sure, it's a little different from the 3 prior games.
The second one actually scared me the most.
But at the end of the day, it's still a series of nights that follow the exact same gameplay loop that adds or adjusts threats as the game progresses. You
As
may
I played
be
it when it
thinking
first
after
came
all
out.
this, of course, Scott would want to try something different after 4 games in a row following the same core gameplay philosophies. And you're not wrong. He decided to make a game called FNAF World. This game, while maybe not being super relevant to the conversation at hand just yet, is still an important turning point in the series to bring up. Since this game is an RPG and not a typical FNAF game, there was bound to be a whole lot more writing and a direct story compared to the previous entries, which is true. However, it's the way the game was written that's really important here. A majority of the writing in FNAF World is very self-aware and full of jokes. This, of course, works fine for an RPG spin-off that isn't trying to take itself very seriously. But just keep that in the back of your head as we continue forward in this video. One pixelated death in a Halloween update later, and we've finally reached Sister Location on our timeline. Now, this game is very different from the other mainline FNAF games that came before it, opting to be a point-and-click style game with mini-games spliced here and there. Sister Location completely throws away the core FNAF gameplay loop that we were just talking about, which in theory could work if the game was still fun. So, does Sister Location do a good job moving the FNAF series forward by removing the gameplay that made it so interesting in the first place? Dude, just read the title, we're gonna be here for a long time. Hey, I think it's about time we check back with our shaky vent. Surely something has come to jump scare us after all this time waiting and doing absolutely nothing when there is a very clear and active threat being presented in this situation? Surely this entire section isn't designed to just catch the player off guard only the first time they play the game.
Damn.
Oh, wait, it is?
Damn.
Okay, wow. Oh, shit. What's gonna happen? Oh, no! I hear noises! Ah! I'm gonna die! What? No, I am actively not playing the game, and there is noises happening that are bad. I'm gonna die. Kill me!
Ow, fuck.
Hello? Oh, I think I gave up. Sister location, sister location, sister location. Where do I even begin with you? I have never had more to say about a game in my life. Surprisingly, I do have some positive things to say about it, which may come as a surprise to you after that entire intro section. But don't get it twisted. For every positive thing I have to say about this game, there's about 10 negative things bouncing around in a harmless shaky vent, just waiting to be blurted out. And yes, that whole shaky vent section was a bit of a joke, but it does help illustrate one of my biggest issues with this game. This is by far the least replayable game in the entire series. Every FNAF game before this encouraged a ton of replayability, whether it be through the inclusion of a custom night to mess around with the game's core mechanics on harder difficulties, or extra challenge modes such as those found in the FNAF 4 Halloween update. Even FNAF World has a million different endings and secrets to find that would maybe encourage the player to go through it a couple times to find everything there is to offer. Also, with the extremely large number of animatronics you can use in your party in that game, just the ability to use a different team each time encourages replayability. Sister Location, aside from its own custom night mode, which we will get to much later, lacks any replayability in a series pretty much famous for it. Not only can you not replay any of its minigames on their own for some reason, but the game is absolutely littered with scripted events that become more and more obnoxious the more you play the game. The shaky vent, for example, would have been a really easy section to turn into actual gameplay rather than a scripted event. You're trapped in this tiny vent, trying to get out, and all of a sudden, you're a bunch of loud noises and the vent begins to shake. In the actual game, this is just a cheap scare that adds nothing to the overall game really. But if the gameplay was put first here, there could have been something really similar to the Tiny Vent Music Men from Security Breach. Sister Location insists on treating itself like some kind of free roam game. You have to use WASD for pretty much every single movement action, including pressing W to go forward in the vent. It's fine to set up a game like this, but at least utilize the fake free roam in interesting ways. For example, instead of this stupid vent section being just for spooks and not actually dangerous in any way, give the player the ability to turn around in the vent to look behind them. Turn this boring, pointless vent section into a minigame where you need to turn around every time the shaking happens to scare away the biddy babs, making the ruckus at the end of the vent. It doesn't even need to be a very long gameplay section, but it at the very least adds more gameplay to the game overall. It makes it less of a snooze fest on repeat playthroughs. Instead of, oh boy, time to go through this stupid vent again and hear the scary noises, it turns into, oh boy, time to play this part of the game again in this video game that I enjoy and respect. Yes, I am that petty. I will talk about a 10-second section of this game that nobody has ever thought of in probably literal years. Anyway, the game is literally full of shit like this. I'll go into more detail on each one as we get to them, but I just wanted to give you a little taste of what's to come. First though, we need to talk about something that doesn't even have to do with the game itself really. We gotta talk about the box art. Well, okay, it's hard to call it box art when it's really just the cover for the digital game, but you know what I mean. Let's take a look at the box arts for every FNAF game up until this point. Except for FNAF World, because literally, who cares? FNAF 1, Freddy Fazbear is front and center. Makes sense, it's the first game and he's literally the namesake of the series. FNAF 2, Withered Freddy. Once again, makes sense, and looks a lot better than if Toy Freddy was on the cover. Sorry, Smike. FNAF 3, Springtrap. This makes sense. While not the namesake of the series, he's the only real animatronic in said game, and is the main antagonist of it. It would be pretty weird if this game all about Springtrap and his story and lore had a picture of Phantom Freddy on the cover.
Again, this is an open note quiz. I'm
that
not
would take
fucking
away from the
cheating.
importance of Springtrap in this game. Okay, so clearly Scott is not above using different characters for the box arts if said character is extremely prominent in the game.
Dude, FNAF World
Good to
like
know.
gave
FNAF
so much
4
like
and
interesting
Nightmare Freddy.
story, and
You
then
could
wrapped
argue that
up
Nightmare
like
Fredbear would
wrapped
be
up
more
part of the
fitting
story,
here.
and then
But
Scott
he's
was like,
supposed to be
never
a
mind.
surprise in the game, since his design was never
No,
fully
yeah, 'cause
revealed before
I'm
the
looking
launch
at
of
this,
FNAF
and
4.
there's nothing
Using Nightmare
about
Freddy here makes a
gender
lot of
that I can
sense.
put for
Okay,
the
so now
video.
we're at Sister Location.
There's nothing.
You'd think that Circus Baby
really
would be
sad.
front and center here, right? They guide you through the entire game. Their design isn't a secret, as it was shown extensively in teasers and the trailer alongside the literal intro and literal title screen of the game. Okay, so let's see it. What's the box art for Sister Location? Funtime Freddy. Funtime Freddy. A character who is, yes, in the game, and yes, has a lot of screen time, but isn't that important overall to Sister Location, and is clearly taking the spotlight away from a much more obvious candidate. Wow, what a stupid point. Why would you even bring this up? Yeah. Or even trying here, blah, blah, blah. One, clearly Click Team and Scott thought this was important as well, because guess who's on the box art of the console ports of Sister Location? That's right, motherfucking Circus Baby. And two, I'm using this kind of funny note about the game to segue into a much bigger point. That being that Circus Baby is heavily underutilized in their own star game. This is the Circus Baby game. So tell me why the only render of her in any of the actual gameplay is her lifelessly sitting on a fucking conveyor belt in one of the worst sections of the entire game.
I
which, trust
fucking
me, we will
hated
get to
this
later.
part.
For a game that focuses
I
so
fucking
much on
hate the
Circus
conveyors.
Baby,
I don't
and is so
understand
much
it.
of her talking and building a bond with the player, there sure is a major lack of her physically being there. Ever. Even if all her renders were kept in heavy shadows, it would at least be better than literally almost never seeing her at all. You never see her behind the glass here.
Oh my God.
She never jump scares
Ow.
the player once in the entire game, despite essentially being the main antagonist. And no, Ennard does not count. I'm talking about Vanilla Circus Baby. And she isn't even included in the
You know,
obviously
I'm
not
also gonna
canon
put
custom night
the
mode
reading that I
for
put
literally
for,
no reason whatsoever.
like
What is the
body art,
point of
'cause it
ignoring
makes
her so
sense.
much?
It's but
If Scott wanted to create this character
'cause it
that never
mentions
shows up and just
heavily,
guides
like,
the player
tattoos
around,
being
that's fine.
you.
But there are so many sections in this game that would be visually enhanced by a sliver of Circus Baby physically being there. For example, when the lights go out in this one section and she starts talking to you, would it not have been sick as hell if her face lit up behind the glass in the darkness, FNAF 1
That's
Freddy
what I thought
style?
she was gonna
Or,
do!
once again, bringing it back to
Fuck.
this awful conveyor belt section, why the hell doesn't she jump scare the player here for messing up the code instead of maskless Ennard doing it? Having her spring to life and
Me and
jump
my
scare the
homies
player
hate
from a
Circus
lifeless
Babies.
position would have been an insanely cool visual. And don't use the, oh, she's still trying to trick the player at this point of the game. She
Me and
wouldn't
my
hurt
homies
you.
don't
Oh,
like
Circus
this
Baby
game.
would never hurt you excuse. Assuming that the player character dies here regardless, I would rather it be by Baby turning on you than maskless Ennard popping up when they show up
Yes,
yet again in
'cause
the
it makes
section
more
directly
sense.
following this one. I will not take story
madam,
reasons
there's no
as an
reading
excuse
for this
lackluster
answer.
gameplay or missed potential, since the story
There's not
literally could have just
one.
been tweaked to include these extremely weird omissions.
There
Here,
is-
I'll tweak
there
the story
is-
right
there
now to
is
make
no
this baby
reading.
section better. Have it so messing up the passcode
Because like
canonically
because again
puts
she
Baby into
combined
some
again
kind of
I love
attack
my
mode,
teacher.
and she jumps
I
scares
love
the player
her death.
out of her own
Shout
control.
out to her.
Boom. I just made this section
'Cause she makes this
slightly
class so
cooler,
interesting, but
and the
it's like-
story is literally the exact same,
You-
just with
you
one
did-
new
you did
detail
mostly
added
this
that
on,
never
like,
has to be brought up ever
whole
again.
different thing.
What
There's no reading
really
with this.
stings, though, is that Circus Baby did eventually get a jump scare in a Scott FNAF game when UCN came out. But if you know anything about that game, you'd probably know that pretty much every single jump scare sucks complete ass. And Baby's is no exception. The jump scares in base Sister Location are genuinely some of the best in the entire series.
Okay,
The
then
idea
provide
of the
one example
animatronics
from a
having
civic course
faceplates that
reading and
open
one
up to reveal
example from a
creepy looking
lecture.
endoskeletons is incredibly creative
lecture,
and easily
culture
one of the best
appropriation.
things about the entire game. In fact, I'm gonna rank every jump scare in the game right now. Biddy Bab. Not as interesting as some of the other jump scares in this game, but I like the tiny face plates.
Okay,
6
I'm
out
gonna
of
put
10.
this into
Ballora.
technically.
Her endoskeleton
technically, I
looked
mentioned this.
fucking terrifying, and the fact it
Mentioned
happens from
after
pure
class, but I'm
darkness
counting it.
gives it bonus points. 8 out of 10. Funtime Freddy. Pretty good, but not as good as Ballora. 7 out of 10. Funtime Foxy. I shit bricks every time I see this. 10 out of 10.
This thing just failed.
Holy shit! Yeah, I didn't fucking expect that. Bon Bon. On its own, it's okay. But the PNG texture of a flashlight
fuck?
blocking out most of it brings it down a few pegs. 5 out of 10.
I also
Mini
emailed
Rita.
this to my teacher, which is very funny.
Ew, but 7 out of 10. Maskless Ennard. It's okay, but the lack of any super fast moving parts like the fun times hurts this one. 7 out of 10. Ennard. You could have told me this was a UCN jump scare and I would have believed you. 2 out of 10. In fact, I'm not done talking about this jump scare, because it is genuinely one of the most odd decisions from a visual perspective in this entire game. From multiple renders, we know that Ennard's mask can open up similar to the Funtime animatronics. This opening of the faceplates is what makes these jump scares so effective in my opinion, and the customized jump scares that lack them are significantly worse because of it. So why was Ennard given the ability to open at least a part of their mask, just to never use it in any of the jump scare animations, when it would have made them significantly better? This is probably the jump scare you will see the most in the entire game as well, so having it be the literal weakest one is a major oversight. At least Scott added multiple variations.
It really
of the
makes the
Ennard
most
jump scare
sense for me to
depending on
put
the
this, because
circumstances
even though
you
I did
die
not
in,
mention it
but they're
during the
all
lecture,
pretty
I
much
mentioned it
equally
after
shit.
class, and
Anyway,
yes,
back
the
to Circus
email.
Baby's UCN jump scare.
I'm counting
This
this
being
bitch.
her only 2D jump scare in the entire series is such a shame, and it really just
Body
makes her
rate.
not having one in the game sting even more. Yeah, I know she has one in FNAF VR as well, but it looks pretty garbage. Her faceplates barely move. TLDR, Baby
Tell
got
me
screwed
there's
over in
nothing
her
bad.
own
Come on.
game, and that sucks. Am I done with the
basic
introduction segment
features.
yet? Can I talk about the entire game from start to finish now?
No.
No. Story?
My
What do you
favorite.
mean I have to complain about the story? When have I ever talked about story in depth in a FNAF game before? If only I knew someone who actually cared about the FNAF story in the slightest, who could complain about the story for me while I sit back and eat Sister Location brand popcorn. Okay, buddy, whoa, okay, yeah, you can do it, dude.
I'm stepping out, one you guys Slayer hates this in a ironic way. Alright, bye, have a good night, have a good day / night. I'm just gonna contemplate this paper and want to
Despite being the game with quite possibly the heaviest focus on storytelling in the entire series, Sister Location always felt like it didn't fit in narratively. It introduced concepts and environments that were so over the top that it
Oh.
completely spoiled my immersion with the world that Scott built.
I was
for
like,
the
wait a
previous
second,
4
why does he
titles.
sound
You
familiar?
see, despite introducing many unrealistic ideas, the FNAF series was one which felt grounded enough in reality to be immersive. FNAF 1, for example, while featuring a premise which could never happen in real life, presented a real enough setting and story that
I'm
one
too
could
lazy to
suspend
go
their
through all my
disbelief while
fucking notes.
playing it. The same applies to the other 3 games which came after. FNAF 2, while being much bigger and more chaotic, kept to the dingy pizzeria style of the original game that we expected. FNAF 3, while introducing an extremely over-the-top concept like Springlock suits, did so in a way that felt
You know what, I'm also gonna
grounded
do
in
this
what the
with
technology of the
tattoos.
series was capable of. 4, of course, was a big departure, but it felt grounded due to the nature of the game being set in a dream and being in a very personal environment like a house. When we look at Sister Location, though, this game completely jumped the shark with what the technology in the FNAF universe was capable of. The environments and animatronics in this game are far more advanced than anything we'd seen before, and while they both end up looking really cool, they completely break the ability to suspend your disbelief. The other big problem this poses comes into play when we're supposed to pin this game's story somewhere in the pre-established timeline. There have been arguments for years about when Sister Location is supposed to take place, and the big problem with these arguments is that no answer makes sense with what we know from previous titles. If Sister Location were to take place before FNAF 2 or even 4, then that would mean not only was William Afton building murder robots before the missing children's incident, but that extremely advanced robots like Circus Baby existed alongside the original FNAF 1 crew of animatronics. If we're to try to pin this game as happening in the future, there would only be a couple of places it could possibly fit in. It would have to take place after the closure of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, but it would also have to take place before the events of FNAF 3 since William Afton was the one who built these robots. That would most likely leave Sister Location as happening sometime in either the late 90s or early 2000s, which still doesn't add up with what we know was possible at that time in universe. Now, trying to peg this game somewhere in the timeline aside, let's take a look at what this game individually brought to the series. In my opinion, the ideas and lore that Sister Location brought to the table permanently changed the FNAF universe in a negative way. The heavy sci-fi approach led to many concepts which would become staples in later entries, as well as being retconned to exist in previous ones, causing the series to spiral in a much more ridiculous direction. The prime example of these concepts I'm talking about being Remnant. Giving an explanation to the paranormal in a way that boils down to a science, to me, completely kills kills the eeriness and mystery behind the possessions, which made the series interesting in the first place. What went from a simple story of ghosts and hauntings turned into a sci-fi narrative about giant scoopers making these things possessed, and a mad scientist trying to harness it for immortality. And the way we see this concept explored led to one of the most ridiculous moments in the entire series, where we see a rotten corpse possess its own dead body because of Remnant. I know that there are a lot of Michael Afton fans, but this is a piece of lore I could just never understand. By making this happen, it kinda just kills the point of possession to me entirely. Now, moving on from Remnant, there is one more thing I'd like to discuss that Sister Location added and changed, that being its portrayal of William Afton. Now, this may be a bit of a hot take, but I feel this game was the beginning of William Afton's downfall as a character. To me, what made him work in the previous 4 titles was how grounded he was in reality and mystery. All we knew about him was that he was a child murderer in some small town who eventually died himself. This was a much more simple version of the character, but one that worked because he felt like he could exist in real life. However, when Sister Location released, we saw this character shift from his original idea into that of a mad scientist, building robots that defy any form of reality and using them to research Remnant to become immortal. It was such a massive departure from the original character we knew, and I felt like it was such a massive jump that it completely killed any creepiness he once had. I'm not against giving the character a name or personality, but completely changing what he does in the story like this makes him feel like a completely different character altogether. And this massive change would spark his continuous downfall in the series to me, with him being depicted like this in Pizzeria Simulator, and then becoming even more cartoonish with his portrayal in Help Wanted, and then Security Breach. Giving an explanation to a mystery or character isn't the problem here, it's the way Scott went about it and what he chose to explain. William Afton is a character that was explored in a way that never felt intended with how he was originally written. And Remnant is a concept that nobody asked to be explained at all. Both of these poor explanations were given to us in a game which departs so far from the series that it just doesn't fit no matter where you try to pin it in the timeline as a whole, making this game almost feel like it's not supposed to be there. I feel like Sister Location would have benefited the most from just being its own unique story that has nothing to do with FNAF, because as it is, it feels very alien from the rest of the series. Those are just my thoughts though. If you disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this game and the way it's presented. I always love to see different perspectives on the storylines like this one, especially in a community with such differing opinions like the FNAF franchise. Anyway though, I think it's time I stop my rambling and give the spotlight back to Yeah. Goodbye for now.
Okay, okay, there. Now you can't complain about me not talking about the story. Well, actually, you can technically still do that since I didn't actually talk about it myself, but you'd probably look stupid doing that. Also, by the way, please go check out Pastor's upcoming analog horror series. The link will be in the description. Okay, thanks, bye-bye. Now that I've covered a couple of my miscellaneous points about Sister Location, and I've laid the groundwork for a couple of my bigger points later in the video, it's time to go through this entire game from start to finish. I'm gonna talk about every single night, every single minigame, every single ending, and every single little thing that makes me think this is the worst of the Scott Cawthon FNAF games. I hope you're ready, because we're really only scratching the surface right now. By the end of this, you'll probably either want to punch me straight in the face, or you'll come to the dark side and fully understand why this game has not held up very well over the years. At the end of the day, I don't really care, as long as you hear me out and give me a chance to explain this whole mess. Let's get into it. Sister Location is probably the best YouTuber game out of the entire series. I say probably because it's hard to beat FNAF 1 in that regard, but just looking at it from a basic level, it has a lot more moving parts to keep the viewer engaged. The gameplay changes each and every night, so the viewer doesn't have to keep watching the same loop over and over again. It is very, very story heavy, so you can watch it almost like a movie. And watching a YouTuber play it, you get to see their reactions to all the scripted events for the first time. I fully understand that a large portion of the fan base has never actually played any of the FNAF games, and even a smaller portion has probably ever even played Sister Location. So, just as a guess, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the people who love this game have never actually played it, and have just watched someone else play it. From that perspective, I can totally see why someone would love this game, or even have it as their favorite. Hell, if you're really only into FNAF for the story, this is the most story-heavy game of the original Scott Cawthon series, so it also has that going for it. But coming from the perspective of someone who has very little nostalgia for this game, has played it multiple times over, and has spent literal hours and hours thinking about it, and talking to people about it for this video,
My keyboard
I
wanted
have to
to
say,
disconnect, and my
the more
touch
you think
screen's
about it
broken.
all, the more cracks begin to appear in the foundation of this game. The more stupid design choices start to rear their ugly head. The more insane parts of this game begin to look even more insane than they did before. Trust me, this video is not being made on a whim or with very little thought put into it. I have thought about Sister Location non-stop pretty much all month in preparation for this video. So, try and put any thoughts about Sister Location you already have set in stone aside, especially if you haven't played it before, and allow me to explain everything. This isn't coming from a place of pure hatred. I'm going to be as fair as possible to this game, even if I dislike it a lot. I've already given props to the jump scares, and that isn't where my praise for Sister Location ends. Keep that in mind as we go forward here. But without further delay, let's dive straight into
I've
night
typed
1.
380
The game starts off
words for
inside an
this.
elevator that's slowly going down to a facility that keeps animatronics stored away until they are rented out for parties or shows. This concept is actually really cool, and is a nice change of pace compared to the other games in the series. The environments in Sister Location look amazing.
going so good
That's
at
something
work.
I have to give the game right off the bat, because almost every single area looks at least good. While the more high-tech sci-fi aesthetic may be a downside to some, it's genuinely one of the only positives to me. Almost every room render looks great, with a few exceptions, and oftentimes the worst of the visuals simply comes down to the engine the game was made in, that being ClickTeam. If you've looked at FNAF gameplay for long enough, you'll probably notice a lot of the games have this cylinder-like effect that warps the backgrounds to feel more 3D. Sometimes this works great, but other times not so much. The elevator is actually quite a good example of it being put to good use, since the render is made with the cylinder warping in mind. I'll bring up more of the environments as we get to them. Here we're introduced to Hand Unit, who is essentially the phone guy of this game. This is probably a hot take, but I really dislike Hand Unit. The writing for the character often leans too much into humor, which is fine in concept, but in execution it takes a lot away from the overall experience. Humor is a subjective aspect of any piece of media, so it's hard to definitively say that the game isn't funny. But at least to me, I didn't laugh out loud once, and I often felt taken out of the experience when Hand Unit made the same shitty, "lol, I messed up your keypad input" joke each night.
Using the keypad below,
Oh, give me the cash basket!
it seems you had some trouble. with the keypad. I see what you were trying to type, and I will auto-correct it for you. Thank you for selecting exotic button.
Let's go! You're probably wondering why I'm even bringing this up. Well, looking back at the previous FNAF games, a lot of them also had subtle jokes and humor, but they almost never took away from the experience and instead added to them in ways that felt very grounded. For example, Phone Guy in the first two games has a lot of lines that are funny, but in an awkward kind of realistic way. Phone Dude in FNAF 3 is also hilarious to me for a couple reasons. One, having a surfer dude bro be the phone guy, even if it's only for a little bit, is just a funny concept on its own. But it also feels extremely realistic for this late teens, early 20s dude bro to be working at this crazy horror attraction. It's funny, it works, it never overstays its welcome, and it adds to the world in a way that doesn't feel out of place. The humor in the first three FNAF games was extremely subtle, realistic for the scenario at hand, and fit into the games perfectly. Hell, even small things like being able to honk Freddy's nose in the offices and don't poop on the floor being on the list of rules in FNAF 1 are kind of funny jokes that are more hidden away and add to that awkward, quirky sense of humor the first couple games have. I never felt taken out of the game world, and it all felt very natural. You want that when you're trying to build a horror atmosphere. Let me remind you that this is a horror game. Having this joke-cracking robotic-ass voice talking to the whole game feels so out of place, and I am extremely glad that Baby begins to have a more prominent speaking role as the game goes on. So, what do I think happened here? Why does this game have a much more lighthearted and jokey script for the Phone Guy equivalent compared to what came before? Here's my theory. Scott had just finished writing for FNAF World, which we established earlier has a much more meta and funny script. This works because the game is supposed to be lighthearted. It's not building up a horror environment, it's building up a funny little RPG world. I think Scott saw the somewhat positive reception to the writing in FNAF World, and whether it be by accident or deliberate, decided to make the script for Hand Unit much more fun and humorous. The literal definitive proof for this is that when you get all 3 stars in the game and go back to the extras menu, there's a PNG of the exotic butters you get after completing your week at work. When you click on it, a soundbite of Hand Unit saying, "Exotic Butters," plays. Here now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I know you did.
Exotic butters.
eyebrow.
Exotic butters. Exotic butters. Exotic.
You may be thinking, oh, of course Scott would do that. Exotic Butters is a meme. Well, here's the thing. This wasn't added in an update or added in a patch after the fact. This has been here since the launch version of the game. Scott thought people would find this joke so funny that he had to put a button for it in the extras menu. Which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, but it proves that he thought the script for Hand Unit was funny. Once again, a completely subjective aspect of the game, but I had to talk about it. Outside of Hand Unit, however, the writing and voice cast for Sister Location is actually quite good, and is one of the best aspects about it. So don't think I'm trashing all of the writing here. All I'm saying is, I think Hand Unit and his shenanigans are not very funny, and kinda feel out of place in this game about getting jump scared by killer robots and getting scooped alive and used as a skin suit. Oops, spoilers, by the way, spoilers for Sister Location in this video. Nothing really happens on the first night of Sister Location, which is fair for a couple reasons. First of all, this is a completely new style of gameplay compared to the other games in the series, so making the first night have no real stakes allows the player to get used to everything. Another thing, FNAF 3 also did the same thing, where the first night has no real threat and is just for world building. So hey, whatever, that's fine. As long as the following 4 nights are jam-packed with content to make up for it, there's no issue here. This night consists of clicking on light and electric shock buttons to make the animatronics revert to a working state, and crawling through a couple vents. That's about it. The night ends with the dreaded shaky vent that I talked about earlier, which would have served as a place to put a small, easy minigame to get the player used to that part of the gameplay, but whatever. I already talked about that for long enough. Every night in this game, I'm going to tally how much gameplay is accomplished. The gameplay in Sister Location is split into 4 varieties. First, we have the button-clicking gameplay. This is the mind-numbing, boring stuff you have to do almost every night of the game. Clicking on the buttons for the animatronics, going through vents, yada yada.
No,
the next
fuck!
gameplay style is the
Come
story-focused minigames. These are minigames that barely count as games and are more just for story reasons. They barely have any actual gameplay to them and are the worst offenders on repeat playthroughs. Next up are the semi-story-focused minigames. These include minigames that are typically about going from point A to point B while not getting caught.
Sometimes you just need
They're
to
there
slap your
flow
shit
the
out of your
story
electronics
together,
and they
but
work.
they also feature actual gameplay. Finally, we have the actual minigames. These are actual minigames with full mechanics
shit, that
can be
works.
separated from the story and still work on their own. These are
Wait,
typically
which
the
one
most
does
fun
not
parts of
have
the
a,
entire game.
which
Okay,
one does not
great.
have a C?
With that out of the way, let's
cool, I
tally
only
up
have a
Night
C. Okay, now it's
We
just
had a
D.
bunch of button clicking, and that's it. This style essentially
finally
doesn't
explain the
count as
concepts of
gameplay,
avatar
so let's just say
relates to
that Night 1 of
Western
Sister
frame.
Location
Cultural
has no gameplay.
appropriation.
This is A-okay. Like I said, maybe a semi-story focused minigame in the Shake event would have been cool, but it's
It
the first
shows
night,
that-
so I can't really
it
get too
shows
heated
that
over it.
even
Almost
when-
every Night in Sister Location ends with the player, who
Even
is Michael
when
Afton, by the
culture-
way. I should probably rip that band-aid off. Going
from
home to watch a
outside the
TV
frame.
show about Vlad and Clara. A couple consisting of a vampire and a human
It shows that
arguing
even
over
when
if their
culture from
baby
outside the
actually
frame
belongs to Vlad. You may think because of my
shown-
humor rant
it's shown
earlier,
off.
I would be all angry about this. But
No,
actually, I think
people-
this is
people will
perfectly
take-
fine. Funny even. These moments in the game are the
People will
downtime
take it
between
for
the horror
themselves,
sections.
for
The
themselves.
tension being built up there is completely irrelevant here. And I think these are actually really great additions to the game. You can even munch away on some popcorn while watching, which is a fantastic addition. I'm not going to bring these up again, just thought I should mention my opinion on them here. Night 2 opens up with
Colonize it.
Hand Unit becoming a more interesting character. You might see it walking around. I'm gonna play these vintage
Shows that
audio
even culture from
training
outside the frame
tapes.
is shown.
Oh,
People
get me
take
out of
it
this
for
fucking
them,
place. There's so many
take it
buttons.
for themselves and colonize it. Colonize
fuck?
it.
Better
And
than Andy Field, though.
dehumanize.
This guy is better than Andy Field, unless this is Andy Field doing a voice.
It's not. No, it's a different guy.
A dead body was found in this vent once. Okay, so not that funny, but
It's a story.
story.
Jokes aside, I actually do think
dehumanize
an
it.
angsty teen,
Dehumanize it
maybe
once.
dialed back a bit, would have been a better
When someone-
companion for this game. Story-wise, I guess it wouldn't make
Dehumanize
that
it
much
when-
sense. But like I established
source-
earlier, you can
source of
always
the
tweak a
culture.
story to make things work, so that's not much of an
When the
excuse.
source of the culture
That
tries-
aside, this is the
tries
first
to
real
say
night in the game to include
it.
actual gameplay. Not only that, this is the only night in the entire game to feature all 4 of the gameplay styles Sister Location has to offer on a single run. Not only that, but this is the best night in the entire game. After this, it's all downhill. The first gameplay segment of the night is about
It's a
you
way
protecting
that
yourself from the
humans-
biddy babs under a desk,
humans
using a piece of
can-
metal to protect yourself. Here's an example of the
themselves.
cylinder warping looking
Express
really
themselves
ugly.
on their
In
own.
fact, a lot of things here make no sense. Why
their
are the
body.
holes in this piece of metal
It's
so
only that
perfectly
humans can
smooth?
express themselves
Scott
on their
loves to
body
model things with
that-
this Minecraft pixel art looking ass withering all the time. So the one time that would have actually worked, he opts to make this worn down piece of metal look more like a gray block of cheese. This is a story-based minigame, and actually isn't much of a game at all. Baby tells you to hide under here to protect yourself after hand unit shuts down,
doesn't
but
have
all
to
you
be
actually have to do is click down and move
until
your
secret
mouse
Jess-
to stop the biddy babs from moving
Jess
the metal
is
away from you.
expression.
It's a pretty nothing section, and it's over before it even feels like it starts. For the first actual gameplay section of
Capitalism.
Sister Location, not a great first impression. Oh,
So bad.
oh, 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 oh. Oh my god, that was a close one. It's not like the fucking door goes the exact same length every single time you play this game and it never changes. Okay, bye. Hand unit comes back online and tells us to rush through Ballora Gallery to make it to the breaker room. However, before he comes back, Baby tells the player not to listen to him and to instead take your sweet ass time getting through the gallery. This is the start of Baby manipulating the player into a false sense of security. She helps out Michael Afton to try to win him over slowly and surely throughout the game.
fuck.
Next up is the Ballora Gallery minigame, which is the first minigame in Sister Location that has some actual gameplay behind it. The controls from the vent section are carried over here as you need to crawl from one side of a room to the other. The room is pitch black, except for a door that has lights above it at the end of the room. If you hear Ballora's music get too loud, stop in place and wait for it to die down. While no music is playing, you can sprint for the door. Extremely simple game that is an alright challenge. Here's my biggest issue with it, however. It's super simple when it really shouldn't be. What I'm talking about is this
Okay, I'm
scripted section of the minigame where Ballora spins across the screen to the other side. When this happens, you have to stop and wait for her to leave. This is a cool section until you realize the way it's scripted makes it happen at the exact same point every single time you
Shut the
play
fuck
it.
up, it
This
does
is
not
just
do that.
insanely missed potential. Ballora spinning across the screen should not be a scripted element, it should be an actual mechanic in the minigame. That's what FNAF's gameplay is all about to me. Throwing a bunch of threats at the player and having them deal with it. Have it so you have to listen to her music to make sure it's not too
That's
loud,
gonna be
but
clipped.
also have to watch out in
That's
case
gonna be clipped,
Ballora
me beating
spins
the
in
shit
front
out
of
of my
you.
other
That
computer.
adds both an audio and visual
I know it's
aspect
probably-
to the minigame.
I know
and that
it's
simple
probably
change
not
alone
helping it
adds
its
so
case,
much more to it.
but
Too many
I-
things
I've
in this
literally
game
talked
are
about getting
scripted
into it.
segments when they
'Cause I've
should
had
have
this thing for, what,
100%
5
been
years?
actual gameplay mechanics. Not only would this have made repeat playthroughs way more interesting, it would just make each section of the game that much more fun to go through. It just hurts me every single time I play the Ballora minigame and get to the part where she spins,
Just a
and
desire.
every single time you have to sit there
To
and wait for her to
fit
leave at the exact same
into
spot
the West
when that idea would have been perfect
is-
as an
is
addition
just
to
the
the actual minigame mechanics. This isn't like a thing where when
Desire
you're
to
done,
fit.
you're done either. Even if you complete this minigame and get to the next one, if you die
Western
there,
frame,
you're
but-
sent all the way back to Ballora Gallery. So this isn't even a thing where it just makes repeat playthroughs less interesting, it
The
also
fuck
makes
desire to fit
repeat
into the
attempts
Western
on a
frame
single
covers.
playthrough less interesting. I would have much preferred more fleshed out
pro.
minigames with proper checkpoints after each one,
That's
rather than
either-
what we got, being a bunch of half-baked
That's either
minigames
that's
that you need to
standard.
complete in a row without dying, or else you're sent all the way back to the last insanely brutal checkpoint. This is where scripted events like
Standard
this in a
force
game where you're
versus
probably
on
going to be retrying things a lot
people
becomes
outside
a
of it.
very apparent issue. Things like this during mini games makes them lose their punch fast, when actual
Side of
additional
it,
mechanics
side of it,
would
or-
work significantly better for repeat tries and just overall in general. After crawling through the gallery, you're greeted with one of the best minigames in Sister Location, that being the Funtime Freddy Breaker Room minigame. You're given a monitor that you flip up FNAF camera style, that features a bunch of systems that need to be restarted. Each system has a load
Gender
time to
outside
restart
the
them
Western
that starts at 0%
frame
until it's
is
completed at
not
100%.
There's many
You have
people
to
that
hold
do
down
believe
each
that there is
system
a
to make them reach 100%.
third
However,
gender
Funtime
outside
Freddy
the
is active in the
standard
same
too,
room as
not
you.
including
He'll make
intersex.
attempts to get close to you
So when
while you're
people talk
restarting each of
about
the systems.
there's
So
gender,
every
they're
once in a
always like,
while,
"Oh, I
you need to
don't
put
fit
down the
into these
monitor
clothes,
and
I
play an
fit
audio
into
cue to
this."
trick them into going back to the starting point. Restart each and every system to finish the minigame. In concept, I like this minigame a lot. It has a very classic FNAF feel to it, since you have to balance an office section and a camera section to survive the night. However, as cool as it is, I think it might be too simple. The audio cues can kind of just be spammed whenever you can use them, so there really isn't any skill on that front. It kind of just boils down to increase system to 50%, close monitor, spam audio until it's safe, go back to the monitor, rinse, repeat. I think a pretty simple change here would be to have 2 different sets of audio cues depending on what side of the screen Funtime Freddy is on. This idea is heavily inspired by his appearance in this game's Custom Night mode, where depending on the side he's on, you need to close different doors.
I'm
to
muting
stop
because
them. So in my
the topic
hypothetical
I'm about to talk
improvement,
about is really
if Funtime
dark.
Freddy was on the left side, you would play audio using the A key. And if he was on the right side, you'd play audio using the D key. That way you have to put a little more thought into what you're doing in the office sections of this minigame. Either way, this is still one of my favorite minigames here, but I think some things could be tweaked a bit to make it a little better. I should also say that visually, this part of the game looks fantastic. All the different Funtime Freddy renders look great, and the area itself has a lot of detail. Once again, in my ideal sister location world, each minigame is more interesting and fleshed out, but has a checkpoint at the end of them to make up for the more complex mechanics. The way the game is currently set up, sure, having to redo multiple minigames if you die does add a lot of stress and tension to the game, however, it's in a very artificial way that makes it kind of feel unfair. This isn't, oh, I'm so scared, I gotta get through this scary section again, I'm so tense. This is, oh, I'm so annoyed, I gotta watch Ballora spin around in front of me for the 14th time. Not to say I died 14 times here, by the way. I only died once because I'm a gamer. Anyway, after you finish up in the breaker room, you can run through Ballora Gallery again without having anything to worry about. And that is where the night ends. Yep, that was the best night in the entire game. A night where I complained about every single minigame, at least to some extent, and went on a long-ass rant about scripted events in short minigames. This is going to be a long video. However, I will give props to this night for having a lot of gameplay, even if one of the 3 sections barely counts, and for having a decent variety as well. On the gameplay tally here, we have our standard button-clicking gameplay that almost every night features, a story-focused minigame in the form of the Biddy Bab survival section, a semi-story-focused minigame with the Ballora Gallery, and an actual minigame with the Breaker Room. So far, so good when it comes to content. Hey, if each night keeps this pace up, Sister Location might not actually be that bad. Sure, maybe the quality of each minigame won't be amazing, but at least the content's gonna be there, right? Right? Night 3, baby! It starts off the same way the previous nights do, with you clicking on a bunch of buttons, seeing weird stuff happen, until you're given a task for the night by Hand Unit. Night 3 has you going through Funtime Auditorium to get to Parts and Service, to do a routine checkup on Funtime Freddy. Having Funtime Freddy be the end goal of the night again is a little weird, but it's not really that big of a deal, just kinda odd. This night does something a little different, however. When you're finally able to progress to Funtime Auditorium, you're given a split pathway. You can either listen to Hand Unit and do the task at hand, or disobey him and go forward to Circus Gallery. On paper, this is a great idea.
Is this fucking Birdie's theme in the background?
Is set up in a way where you'd think you'd be given a lot more options on where to go.
It is.
And this appears to finally be utilizing that. However, all going this way does is give you an exclusive bit of
I was like, I've
dialogue
listened to
to go
Deltarune
for
the
something
music,
else
not
later
the
in
not
game.
musical to
Nothing
Hello,
changes if you go
good
to this
sir.
room. And after you finish up here, you just continue the night like nothing happened. The real kicker, not counting entirely different endings, this is the only optional path in the entire game. You're never allowed to explore the location for secrets or take alternate paths that lead to different endings. The entire game
Supernaturalism
is pretty
outside
much on
of the
rails. It's
frame
really disappointing too,
is
because having the game set up in a
people
more
believing what
task-based
they
way
want to
could
believe
really fix a
without
lot of its
having
issues.
the outside
Imagine that
source
instead of a
being like,
set
oh,
path
no,
for
you're
each
wrong.
night,
Like,
you have a
this is what
time
you
limit of,
have
let's
to
say,
believe in.
15 minutes, and a
People
series
believe
of
in what they
tasks to
want
do
to
during the
believe,
night.
even if it
You can
does
do these
have like those
tasks in
elements
any
of what
order,
people
as
don't
long as you finish
understand,
them
like
all
how
within
some
set time limits.
people,
That way, you can
like say
explore the
witchcraft
entire
or
map
how they
in
believe
any
in
way you
outside
please,
frames,
and
especially
everyone's
in
playthroughs could be a little different. I think that would really sell the whole being a handyman thing a lot better than how the game currently presents it. Anyway, all I'm really saying here is that I wish there was more exploration in this game, and I wish there was more alternate pathways that actually led to more interesting things. After you finish hearing what Circus Baby has to say, you're able to go through the Funtime Auditorium. This minigame is pretty similar to the Ballora Gallery one,
No!
but instead of being based on audio,
Damn it!
it's based on knowing your surroundings. Your goal here is to get from one end of the room to the other, just like
Backspace.
Ballora Gallery, except this time you're provided with a flash beacon that creates a small flash of
Backspace,
light in the
backspace,
room for you to
backspace.
check your surroundings. Occasionally when you flash your beacon, Funtime Foxy will be standing there. When this happens, you just have to wait in place and flash the light again to make sure they're gone. I know people often have trouble with this one, it's not explained super well in game, but the best way to do it is to listen to the quiet noise that plays after you flash the beacon. A good rule of thumb here is to crawl while the noise is still playing and stop when the noise stops. At that point, flash the light again to check, rinse and repeat until you make it to
Oh my god, my
Parts and
phone went
Service.
off at just
This
the right
minigame
time.
is fine. I don't actually know if I like this game more or less than Ballora Gallery. It can get pretty tense at times, I will give it that. You're probably thinking to yourself, okay, so the first minigame is pretty simple. Surely the next minigame in this night will step things up a bit. This is the only minigame on night 3. I am completely serious. The parts and service section is literally just clicking a bunch of buttons on Freddy, where messing up will result in a jump scare. The actual quote-unquote mini-game part of this is when Bon Bon jumps off Freddy's arm. You have to click on the button on its body to finish the section. The quote-unquote mini-game here goes either one of two ways. Either you completely struggle to figure out how to bait Bon Bon to come out, or you know the surefire strategy to hit his button every single time. In that case, this entire section is literally just clicking buttons. You're not gonna go anywhere, right? You with your like warping ear, you're not gonna like leave me, right?
You better freaking not.
Great
Oh!
work.
Do you know the strategy?
now
You get
be
that every
required
time.
Oh,
No, how
shit,
do you do it again?
hey.
Power module from the
Okay, I
Bonnie
believe
hand
it's
puppet.
look at his center.
Press the
Okay.
large black button
Go to the
beneath
left
Bonnie's bow
corner.
tie to release the power module.
Like just all the way to the screen.
Okay.
Then go right. All the way to the right.
Just like straight up.
Fast, all the way to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, all the way to the right. Now slowly drift to his left shoulder. Or, sorry, his right shoulder. Not the side you're on. Go to the side. But slowly. I think he'll be there. Yep.
That's so fucking dumb.
Every
Both
time.
power modules.
Does that really work every
This completes
time?
your tasks for
Yes.
the night.
What? That's so dumb. In the other case, you have to replay the Funtime Foxy section over and over and over again
Come
just to
on.
get another shot at trying to click the button again. And that's it. That's night 3. Genuinely, probably the worst night in the entire game when it comes to
This is gonna be
content.
a fucking-
You exit parts and service, get jumped by Foxy,
Okay.
and are transitioned right into night 4. So, remember when I said night 1 having no content could easily be made up for
talked
if
about,
the other nights were
the
stacked
subject,
with
the
content?
subject.
That's pretty much completely out the window now. For the sake of putting this
subject.
all on the table right now, let me break down the rest of the gameplay this game has.
subject.
Night 4 is one 3-minute minigame that is insanely difficult if you don't know what you're doing. And even if you do know what you're doing, it still serves as an insane difficulty spike in this game with pretty easy challenges thus far. Night 5 pretty much has no gameplay whatsoever on a normal run. There's an always fun clicking buttons section with Circus Baby, a part where you follow Baby's movement instructions, and that's
Woo!
it.
All right, we're
Putting
on
this
to
all
part
into
B.
perspective, this game features a minigame where
I
you
swear,
do
this
nothing but
usually
click
will
on a
not take me
metal
this
slab.
long.
2 minigames where you crawl through long
Okay.
hallways and wait
I'm-
a lot. A minigame that
Oh,
makes
God!
everyone who plays
I
it
have to
tear
finish
their
it
own
before this
teeth
video
out.
ends!
And trust me, we will get to it shortly.
Okay.
One that has a surefire way to beat it every time and barely
let me
counts
save
as an
this,
actual
and then
minigame.
what's
And
for
one
part? 'Cause
single
it's,
minigame that I would consider
or the reason
very
why.
good. Do you see why I dislike this game? We are now about to
Where's
cover
my
night
argument?
4 of 5, and there is only one actual minigame left. Night
my
5
argument for
has
body art
nothing
versus
on a normal
for
playthrough
visual
that I would
gameplay.
classify as an actual minigame or any kind of real gameplay, to be honest. It's pretty much just an extended ending cutscene. And no, I'm not forgetting Enter Night. We will be going over all that. But right now, I'm just trying to paint a picture of how little content Sister Location has on a normal playthrough that would actually qualify as a minigame or game of some kind. Here's another point. If each of these minigames was really good, I would absolutely have no issues here. It's not the
Y'all want to
amount
hear me
of
talk
content that's
super
the issue.
passionately about this
It's
shit?
what you're doing
Let's
with
go.
said content that really matters. I have
The main
played
argument
tons of short
presented in
games
Body as
that were
visual
fun from
language
start to
is
finish,
that
and I have high praise
body
for.
art
And
is
if
a
every single
visual
minigame in
language.
Sister Location was an absolute banger,
It's presented
I
in
would
the
be
sense
singing
that
high
she
praises right now.
mentions
But the
how these
reality of the
different
situation
cultures
is,
use
most
different
of these
forms of
minigames
body
are either
arts to
lacking in
express
something
either their
or
cultures,
downright
self-expressions,
suck ass.
or any
What you're
other
really left with
things
here when you
as a
strip
way of
all
expression.
the minigames away is an
That
interactive
is what
visual
is
novel,
mentioned.
which is fine if you're into
look-
that.
there's
but
a lot of
personally,
details she
that's not why I
mentions.
play Five Nights at Freddy's games, and that's also not what I expect when I'm playing a Five Nights at Freddy's game. Love 'em or hate 'em, most of the original 4 games have extremely solid mechanics that can hook a player early and keep them going for all 5 nights. If I wasn't making a video on this game, I would have 100% dropped it at night 4. Speaking of, video games need to have difficulty curves. I know, right? What a hot take. Ooh, really coming in there. Ooh. If a game is too easy the entire way through, a
I'm
player
actually
might
gonna
just
pull
get
up
bored
this
and
works,
stop
and no,
playing
she
at some
does.
point. If a game is too hard, a player might just give up straight away from the unfair challenge. You really need to find that sweet
Or
spot,
how
where as the player
it
improves at the game, so will the
is
game
a-
increase in difficulty. When it comes to the regular FNAF games, This is done fairly effortlessly. Every character has an AI level, and as you finish nights, those levels increase. On top of that, new threats are added to challenge the player on top of the existing knowledge they've gained from the previous nights. Sister Location, on the other hand, would be a very hard game to make a good difficulty curve for. Because each night is so different, the player isn't really learning anything from minigame to minigame that they could actually use going forward. The closest thing to that here would be the knowledge from Ballora Gallery kind of carrying over to Funtime Auditorium. So, I do indeed understand that making a super fair and balanced difficulty curve for a game like this would be a challenge. But oh my god, did Night 4 just drop the ball completely. The intention here was definitely to make this night tough as nails, but Jesus, nothing could have truly prepared the player for this. The night picks up right after the events of Night 3. Since Michael Afton got jump scared by Funtime Foxy instead of properly finishing his shift, he finds himself trapped in a springlock suit in a dark room. Baby's dialogue kind of gets aggressive here, which is an odd tonal shift when you consider that only one night after this, Baby is once again playing nice and trying to help you. This being her mask off moment could have worked, but it really goes nowhere and feels out of place to happen here. Baby blabbers on a bit, Ballora fucking dies, and finally the night truly begins. Like I mentioned earlier, this night is literally just one minigame and nothing else. On each side of the springlock suit, you can see multiple different springlocks. These springlocks are constantly winding down, and you have to click your mouse over each of the springlocks to wind them back up. If a springlock fully winds down, it's game over, and you have to try again. However, on top of that, mini-arenas will crawl up the side of the mask. If a mini-arena fully climbs the mask, you get jump scared. The only way to stop them is to shake back and forth to make them fall off the mask. Here's the catch though. Every time you shake, the springlocks become more loose and wind down even further. So the goal here is to make sure you time your shakes at all the right moments to minimize the amount of shakes you have to do total during the entire minigame. This challenge lasts 3 full minutes and is a brutal difficulty spike
how there
in this
is
game
no
full of
culture
somewhat easy
that
minigames
doesn't
and challenges
use body
up
art
until
in
this
some
point.
way.
It really doesn't start
While
off
there is
that
some
bad.
cultures that
Winding
it
down
is
all the
either has
springlocks
been
isn't much
stolen
of an
from
issue
or
at the
is
start,
heavily
and
against,
you're able
like
to manage
Japan.
everything fairly easily.
When it comes
However,
to tattoos,
around 2 minutes in, you'll find
you
yourself
can
struggling
definitely
to
tell
keep
that they
the locks
have
in
their own
check
way.
and panicking
Going back
over
on what I
making the
just
smallest
mentioned
of
about Japan,
mistakes.
they have their
This
own
makes
art
it so the
style.
challenge never really
Even
gets
though
that
it is
hard
frowned upon to
until
have
it's around a
tattoos
minute
there,
away from being
it's
over.
very
So
interesting
doing
seeing how
multiple
they have
attempts
their own
over
style,
and over, knowing that you're
but it's
so close
heavily
every
against
time,
unless you are
can
like
be a
with a
little
criminal
demotivating.
organization
Here's
or
my thing
just
with Night
a
4. If
quote-unquote
this
delinquent
minigame
in
was
general.
fun, I would have no issues with it really. Sure, I'd still complain about the difficulty feeling out of place for this part of the game, but if it was fun, I would definitely be able to look past that. However, this minigame just isn't fun. It really just boils down to shaking when a mini arena is as high as it can get on the mask, and praying to God you're able to keep the spring locks in check.
While
it doesn't
going with
feel
stolen
satisfying
culture,
to replay over and
even
over
though it's
again.
not really
And it's a
stolen,
low point of the
Hawaiian
game, even
tattoos,
for people
Polish
who like
tattoos,
Sister
and
Location
even-
as well.
even,
One of my
henna
biggest issues with this night
has
is actually
been
the
like
lack
colonized
of
in
visual
such a
feedback
way
given to the
because
player.
henna,
In this minigame,
you
have two
can go to
distinct
the
ways
store
of
and see
losing.
like all
You
these
can
ones
either
that
let
are
a mini
fake
arena
that have
fully clog
dyes
the mask,
that make a
or
different
have a
color
spring lock
that aren't
fully locked
natural and
down.
are
However,
in some way
regardless of
harmful to
how
the
you
body.
die, you still
While
lose
compared to
the
normal
same
henna,
way
there's only
every
like
time.
the
It doesn't matter which way you
brown-
lose. You will
the brown
always
color
be jump scared
that
by a
starts
mini
out green,
arena.
or you
For
have
a minigame
the or you have the jaguar
this
that's black.
hard and even had to be patched
It's
to
all
make
of
it
these
easier only days
colonized
after launch.
art
This
forms
is genuinely
that to
a
people,
huge
they don't
oversight.
see
It's
how
important in a
deep
minigame
rooted
like
it
this
is.
to know 100% of the time how you
While,
lost.
yes,
That
there's
way,
different ways,
you can use
like
that
with
information
dyeing
to
your
properly try
hair,
new strategies
creating
the next
your
time you
own
attempt
clothes,
it. Would it
getting
really have
tattoos,
been
getting
that hard
piercings.
to have the spring
There's
lock
also
mask
is that
closed
underlying
shut
of
and the
there's
blood
the
effect
time
cover
where
the
this
screen
probably
if you
wasn't
die
cool.
because of a spring lock?
As we
You
mentioned
can't
in
even
class,
say this isn't a
there's probably
realistic
people who
expectation
got tattoos
when
and
both
piercings
of these
before they were
assets
building
are already
mainstream.
in the
But
game.
now you have
The
these
spring lock
entire
mask
generation of
opens before you play
children, or
Night
like
4.
this entire
So just
generation of
reverse the
people
damn thing, speed
getting
it up a bit,
tattoos,
add a
getting
slight
piercings
bump
on the
or shake
regular, and you have
effect
these
for
people that
impact,
like
and you
when they
have
got
your
it, they
closing
always come and
animation.
mention, "Oh, I got it
Even this
before it was
blood
cool." And it's
splatter
just
I
like
speak of
you can
is
always
literally
just
in
like
the game
have a
when you get
decent
scooped at the
conversation, being
end of
like,
it.
"Oh, like
The
what did you
assets
get your
were literally already
tattoo
there
for in
for
these
this to work.
meetings?"
But instead,
Then you
we're
also
left
have
looking at mini
ignorant
arenas for
people
potentially
who will be like,
hours of
"Hey,
attempts, depending
let's
on how
put
much
a
you
marking
struggle
on
with
this
this
character's
minigame."
wrist
I
and
was
then
able
make
to
it
finish
popular
this
to
minigame in
go
about half
get
an
it."
hour, but I was already getting bored
Not
of it by the
realizing
20
how
minute
very
mark. The
anti-Semitic
gameplay
it
here
is.
is
It is
not
just
engaging enough for me to actively want to deal
body
with the
art can
bullshit
be used as
for
a
very
form
long.
of art, but
Also,
sometimes
something I
there's
see
lines that
almost
should not
nobody
be
talk
crossed
about
when it
is
comes
the
to these
swarm
art
of mini arenas
forms.
that crawl into the suits during this minigame. While it's a cool visual, It's an insanely poor idea to put something like this here. Someone going in blind will realistically think this is some kind of mechanic at first and probably lose a few times trying to shake them away. Hey, maybe if this was linked to some kind of mechanic and the whole thing was rebalanced a bit, it would be a lot more fun.
Check the left, check the left. Top, fucking three.
Did it! Did it!
What?
Did it!
You were so good.
Did it! Never a fucking again in my life will I play that, ever. Ever. Literally ever. After you finish the Springlock minigame, the night ends and Michael Afton gets to go home once again. And that's the entire night. I guess the implication here was that since this night is so hard, and the player will probably spend so long on it, that there was no need to add any extra content to it. Which, I mean, fair I guess, but all it ends up doing is making this one of the
It's
weakest
done.
nights
We
in the
are
entire
done.
game. But
Hallelujah,
now I
a
ask
fucking
you,
man.
what's worse? A night with one minigame that's insanely hard for some reason, or a night with pretty much zero content? One quick elevator ride and a haha funny exotic butters joke later, and we finally made it to the last night of Sister Location. This night tasks you with going back
It's
through
done.
Funtime
I turned.
Auditorium
Let me
to
go
reach
turn
parts
this
and service
shit
again.
in.
However, on your way through the auditorium, there's nothing that can actually jump scare you. That's right, here you're able to run through the room without actually doing a minigame. Here's my issue with that though. Yes, I understand why there's nothing here anymore from a story standpoint. All the animatronics are currently a pile of spaghetti holding a clown mask. But would this not have been the perfect moment in the game to finally reach back to some of those FNAF core gameplay roots?
I just dropped that in
Here's
as
what
it
I
is.
mean.
Oh fuck
On
yeah!
night
I don't
2,
gotta do the
you go
fancy
through
shit.
Ballora Gallery.
It's
On
done.
night 3, you have to go through Funtime Auditorium.
It's turned
Both of
in.
these sections
I don't have to
involve
suffer
crawling through
anymore.
a dark room and trying to
I will
reach
do
the
that
other
literally
side.
tomorrow morning.
So,
I have to do another
would
thing,
have
but
been
that's like
really
very
cool
fucking
if
minor.
now on night 5, both of these mechanics were combined to serve as one final challenge that you would actually have practiced for already thanks to the previous crawling minigames. Just like in previous FNAF games, where each night things are added and difficulty is raised, this would serve as a perfect point in Sister Location to draw
Alright.
inspiration from those
I'll let this
older
finish.
titles to make it engaging and fun
But,
part of the game.
see, that
It's
quiz wasn't that
literally
bad.
The
I just-
final night.
it's-
Wouldn't a final, harder crawling challenge that tests your knowledge be literally
No,
perfect here?
I could
But
do
no,
everything else.
because of this game's absurd checkpoint system,
Fuck.
Scott decided to make this area empty because if you die at any point during night 5, you have to go all the way back here and crawl through Funtime Auditorium again. Anyway, when you make it to Parts and Service, Baby makes you do a couple things similar to the Funtime Freddy Parts and Service section, clicking on a few buttons, inputting a code, and sending her away on a conveyor belt. That's all I'll say about this section for now, but we'll come back to it a bit later. Once Baby is successfully moved on the conveyor belt, she instructs you to go back into the auditorium and follow some movement instructions. If you mess up any of the movement instructions, Maskless Ennard will jump scare you. Successfully follow Baby's instructions, and you're greeted with the scooping room. You then proceed to get scooped of all your insides and worn like a skin suit by Ennard. The end. While this ending cutscene is very cool,
Sorry.
the buildup of Night 5 is so non-existent that it leaves me with a feeling of, that's it? No big final minigame or anything at all, really? Just a bit of button clicking and
No,
crawling in
I'll
the
let
dark?
this. I'll let this
However,
one finish.
I know you're just all on the edge of your seats right now wondering, what about Ennard Night? Alright, so here's the deal, okay? Night 5 not having any actual minigame is kind of a lie. On a normal playthrough, there isn't anything. However, if you're able to unlock the secret ending, there is a full, classic FNAF-style minigame waiting for you to beat, which is insanely cool as a concept. Sure, it would have hit harder if the rest of the game was good, but just the fact it's there is at least something to look forward to. So, you're probably wondering, how do you unlock this secret ending? Okay, so occasionally when you game over in Sister Location, instead of the normal game over screen, you're met with a pixelated minigame, where you play a circus baby.
Okay. Come on. Come on. Come on. Load your happy ass in. You can already hear it. Cool, I got it. I'm sorry, the fucking what widget? The fuck? Alright, back to Wilbur. Please tell me Minecraft did not just fucking crash. There we go. So, ignore all of that. Yeah, what the fuck happened here? Who the fuck died? Probably a witch did. The one bad thing about working with fucking shulks, or like the fucking ones that expand shit, because if something dies, it fucks over everything around it. But again, I'll get rid of that. Okay. I actually need you. I don't know why I closed this. I need you, actually. Don't you stop working. Okay. So I was not kidding. I terraformed the entire outside. So everything except for like this one area, but I'm gonna make this look more normal. In like a little bit. I'm gonna fill out this entire area. This has been completely terraformed. Like that's gonna change. It's gonna look a lot better. Ignore the water there. I was testing something and I hated it. So yeah. I'm working on the roof, but I got fucking exhausted. So, what's the plan now? We gonna work on the ceiling. Like I said I was going to. Thank you. Alright. Or we're gonna work on the ceiling. Because that's gonna be some therapy. Because as you can see, I'm kind of sick and tired of these fucks being here. And I also can't kill most of you, because then you'll fuck up with the Enderman, or you'll fuck up with the wall, and I don't want to go into peaceful mode because I'll lose my Enderman. Let's make this look pretty. Let's make this look like a starry sky. Starry? The fuck just came out of my mouth? Again, all of this will not be like the end result for the floor, because once I put the buildings in, they're gonna have a different flooring. But I just put this here just to keep it. I also can get rid of like the sensors. I can get rid of the catalyst. But I'm just fucking lazy too, because even though I can tell the difference, like that's one right there, like there's a couple, there's way too fucking many. Exactly where you want it to be, that's what you say. You wanna watch TV and sleep all day and lay in bed, but you're forgetting that I gotta go to work and eat my food and pay my rent and reproduce and feed those kids and maybe use a sextant. I don't miss you. Just the thought of what we were. This is the part where I shut up and let you infest my brain. Wrap your arms around my cortex, let you in, let you drain. You'll never get rid of me. No, I'm like a fucking disease. I'll make a home in your gut, somewhere warm to sleep. You thought when you realized you'll never feel, now you love again. Was it pain or was it sickness? The way you've had of who you've been. She's waiting for his phone call, replaced by apathy. Dating apps, he found his hands, he felt like flying. There's just another man, now that he's inside, then beside you. He's talking right and a future. He's picking a lock he doesn't go into. You're free range.
His knife in a wind, he's a suture. I don't miss you. I miss the thought of what we were. This is the part where I shut up and let you infest my brain.
Please tell me another one did not fuck me.
It's
The
a
strategy to assure I remain. Get rid of me. Oh, I'm like a fucking disease. I'll make a home in your guts. Somewhere warm to sleep. It's okay. It's okay.
Eat my rent, and eat my food, and eat my juice, and eat those kids. And
Maybe use a sexton. Also, okay, so I mentioned this, or I don't think I have, but I'm sneaking off to New York the 6th. So that, like, the second week of December is gonna be really hectic, but I'm going to try with my full heart to stream on my birthday, because I'm not gonna be here the day before, and I'm gonna be busy the day after. So I'm gonna try my damn hardest. Took it as a taunt. Did anybody ever say no to you? Oh, did anybody ever say no to you? Oh. But apparently they've already emailed like all my teachers being like I'm going, and I'm just like, hey, thanks. But bestie, I'm not supposed to be on this trip. Because it's a senior trip and my teacher asked if we wanted to go and I said, fuck yeah, I want to come. If I can get out of my afternoon class I have that day, I'm down. One thing. But yeah, I just think that's hilarious. My teacher's like, oh, you're not gonna be at the 6th, and I went. I mean, yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure someone lost credit for the class. Yeah, that's just welcome to being a photographer major in college. Oh, I mentioned this on my private Twitter. But I said, and I quote, because this pissed me the fuck off, and I will go into heavy detail, because fuck this bitch. I said, this is in all caps. I can't fucking leave this drama. It keeps coming fucking back. It keeps coming back, fuck. And the reason why is because we have a small little cafe at my school, and I was talking to someone who works there because I'm a good friends with them, and I also was like making sure I can use them for something. And the group comes up to me and someone asks about a photo shoot that I've already sent to them. Like they have the photos from this shoot. And I said, oh, can you send them to me again? I didn't get them. And I said, oh, I can't right now. I'm really busy. And they go, well, so am I. bestie, and like I try to reach out to you. My phone is currently broken. You cannot text me at this very moment. But how are you going to, if you're gonna tell me, oh well I'm also busy, then you should know why I can't fucking send this shit to you. Bestie, I have to fix so much shit. And I would have been fine if she was like, oh well that's fine. It's the fact that they gave me an attitude that like made like the inside of my brain snap. And I'm just like, I cannot deal with people at this fucking school. Because this is also, like, the topic I talked about last time. It's like, oh, toxic friends group. Like, if they do not give a shit about you, drop them. And I'm just like, I have not talked to any of you since, like, I had the vibes just like, you don't fucking want me here. And I'm okay with that. Because I am not going to sacrifice the whatever energy I have left to fundamentally care. Like, I'm not putting myself through that shit. Okay, I was about to say, is there a gravel piece here? Yes, there is. Cool. Also, from a distance, this looks normal. Fuck. Yeah, like, from a distance, like, again, I'll like fix it up, but that looks normal. That looks like a generated Minecraft like hill. I think he realizes that he's infatuated with our dear possessions and far from social policies. Daddy works on the council. Isn't love a silver spoon? No, she never kissed the Tory, but this boy was too good to lose. And I'll listen carefully, ears pressed to the door. Once you make your way downstairs, you haven't got far to fall. Now it's red, now it's dead, now it's everything she needs. Now it's a sad, sadly suffer to a happy ending. Ow, that actually hurt. Been scared sleeping with the lights on, but she's not there. I know she's going to his flat. A Capricorn, oh fuck that. They say sex sells and oh that. I've been scared of sleeping with the lights on, but she's not there. I know she's going to his flat. A Capricorn, oh fuck that. They say sex sells and oh that. You can't buy my silence. You got none to lose. If you still infatuated with the truth, so will you do what's easy? Will you do what's right? If you could you let me know? Where will you sleep tonight? Where you gonna 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 sleep tonight? Where do you sleep at night? Where do you sleep at night? Cold treatment, Venetian suntan, red wine and club bands, Viagra pills on the nightstand. How's it feel? How's it feel to be so loved? How's it feel to be so loved yet so alone? Been scared of sleeping with the lights on, but she's not there. I know she's going to his flat. A Capricorn, oh fuck that.
They say sex sells and all that. I've been scared of sleeping with the lights on, but she's not there. No, she's going to his fire. A Capricorn, oh fuck that. They say sex sells and all that. I've been scared of sleeping with the lights on, no, she's not there. No, she's going to his fire. A Capricorn, oh fuck that. They say sex sells and all that. Sex sells and all that. Sex sells and all that.
Isn't it bad that my wrist is actually now starting to hurt?
So what's it to you? Down to another rainbow. I haven't even got the cue.
I love how you can see there's a drastic difference from like the amount of things I put here to here.
And what you deserve to. Saying times we're gonna hurt you. But when it's fuck all else to do. Knock the wind out of my chest.
Ah, I fucked up that line, but it's fine.
Put your feelings in my head. No cause for concern. So what's it to you? Dumped another rape over. I haven't even got the cue. You look dreadful. What you resort to. Chance we ain't gonna hurt you. But when there's fuck all else to do. You could eat the fun from the hairbrush. And you can knock the wind out of my breath. And you can kick the teeth into my head. And still there's no cause for concern. We ain't gonna hurt you. We ain't gonna hurt you. We ain't gonna hurt you. Cause when there's fuck all else to do, we can eat the fun from the hairbrush. You can suck the wind out of my breath. And you can kiss the teeth into my head. Still there's no cause for concern. I said there's no cause for concern.
Hello, Metaton. I think that's also the earliest I've turned an assignment. My teacher's gonna look at that and be like, oh, they're actually a functioning human being when it's something that they are interested about.
You Metaton, including Metaton. You love you Metaton.
Alright, there we go. We got layer 1 of the sky. I'm also pretty sure I skipped an entire Sonette. Yeah, also it was just like, I was talking with someone, they're like, oh, you have a, like, you can't have a weird Minecraft structure. I'm just gonna show them this shit. I have floating gravel. That would have been a lot more satisfying if, like, this whole thing just fell. Oh! Go. Fall. I want to leave this. I'm gonna leave that up there just for the point of I have a incredibly weird. Oh my god, is this more fucking floating? Intrusive Thoughts 1. Is there any more? Again, and then I have this. Like, this entire world is just fucking weird. Are there any more floating gravel the intrusive thoughts can bring? Oh, that poor chicken almost got that fucking slapped. Again, that's normally generated. The fuck is this world?
Yo, we're a bunch of pirates, man. Arg.
Passing the sign as we roam across the ocean. Feel the waves envelop your mind as they rock you with emotion. Calling like a lullaby, singing like a siren's cry. Through every night, can you prove to me all your devotion? Who knows where we'll go under the deep blue below? Hero, race to the sails.
crawl my way. I will fucking... The paper just registered as a PGF. Hey, look, I named him Friend. As much as I love the song, not the vibe I want. That's the vibe I want! What black items do we have in this game? Concrete. Black concrete is what I want. Oh yeah, that works a lot better. Again, I'll fucking fix it. This is just gonna be a little bit of annoyance right now. Wow! I was a little shit. I want to see how that looks from the bottom to make sure, like, I fully fucking commit to this shit. It's hard to tell. Oh no, yeah, that looks better. Whoops. Fuck, I ended up the longer layer. No, we're just gonna do this. That's one way to do it. I don't want to hear shit about why didn't you. Oh, my life is about to be 50 times more fucking easier. I was gonna be like, why didn't you think of this earlier? I fucking didn't think about it. Oh damn it, I was like, what if I'm flying? Actually, this is a lot easier to work from up here for like a hot second. At the time, everyone has got you always on the run. If you join the syndicate, build a little more fun. And all of the horses and all of the men will learn from history. It's all the same in the end. I told you once and I'll tell you again. The syndicate is looking for a couple new friends. Yeah, I'll do the areas I can reach up here, and then I'll do all the ones I can't reach underneath. Which is gonna be fun. Actually, hold up. Wait, pause. Fuck! Actually, wait, no, this can still work. Hell yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Why did I do that to myself? Oh no. Okay, some places are just not getting that shit. Again, I will deadass just spend the time going under it. Oh yeah, no, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, that shit ain't, yeah, that's not becoming. Because I'm pretty sure that area is not. A couple new friends. Yeah, this entire area is gonna get fucked, and I'm okay with it. I'm pretty sure That entire area does not have like an easy way to get in. Oh, no, was I actually smart? Was I smart? No! I fucking wasn't! Why did I do this to myself? Well, yeah, this entire area is not getting fucking filled. I'm not going through the hassle of doing that shit. Again, if I was smart, I would have thought about this beforehand, but no, I'm a fucking dumbass. Like a four-leaf clover, strawberry, slice of life, singing like a sip of nectar, sweet like honey on a summer day, I'll sing with you through the wind and the rain, sweet like honey on a summer night, like a busy bee, take a flight, to a plane, go! Like honey, sweet like a summer day. I put a little bit way too much faith in breaking that. Shit, actually, I think that's this guy. Yeah, I put a little bit too much faith in that. The sky, the ocean. Does it actually look? I can't tell if it looks nicer or not. But just for like the sake of my, it deadass looks the same. Yeah, never mind. It looks the same. I'm not gonna spend time doing that then. I'm gonna say that and then I'm gonna be fuck it, we ball later tonight. And just do this entire thing. Because, why would I not? Alright, never mind then. I'm not gonna question who the fuck died there. Because that means it fucking spread here, didn't it? That's been there. I was about to say, I think the spider is too close, but I think it also realizes I'm creative mode. It's just like, nah, fam. Ooh, fuck. The fuck happened there? Oh. Oh. As we come to a conclusion, it does not matter. That works. Yeah, I should have thought about it, but I think I was just like, I'm gonna leave it normal. I was like, why the fuck are you alive? That's why. Tinted glass, please. I think also it's like tinted glass is also just giving it the more... Yeah, because if it was just that one layer, it wouldn't look as good, but since it's fucking multiple layers of bullshit. Yeah, I love how I did all of that just to have to get rid of it when I do like the actual buildings, which I'm okay with. I just like this as like the floor and sky. I like really like pretty like star themed. That's gonna be my ringtone after finals. Also, I scared the shit out of my professor. Cause I was like in the studio for like 4 hours on Friday. And I came out twice and I was just like a little hermit. Cause at first I was like dressed like really nicely and then I told her, I was like, hey, I have like to run downstairs, and I like grabbed her hoodie. Cause again, it was getting cold in there, but also I needed it for like the shoot I was doing. So she saw me literally, I didn't tell her I was grabbing a hoodie. So she saw me essentially go from, oh, that's a very nice dress, to, oh, hermit mode. Again, I don't like our studio. Our studio is very like shitty compared to other schools for photography, because they don't give a shit about us. You can't tell, but I'm head bobbing aggressively to this. Part of my mouse keeps getting caught on my fucking mouse. Lo-fi music. Never forget that. Why do I hear running water? Looks behind me, fucking waterfall. That is a funny ass conversation I will never fucking forget I had with my roommate. I enjoy that song, but I'm not risking a copyright strike. I'm so sorry, I have to write something really fast. Uh-oh. What happened? Who is it now? I'm sorry. I'm like very quickly on Twitter, and someone said, would you have 2,500 to stream for 72 hours straight? Would you? And everyone's just like, no, because I wouldn't put my mental health. There's nothing saying you can't sleep. Why the fuck is Rip Halo trending? The blooms. I'm skipping so much. I have just a lot of instrumental music. I don't have a lot of lyrical music. I know there's a bunch of good lyrical music that, like, you can play. Bestie, I don't have that. Now, what would happen if I just, you know, so happened to go leech on someone's, playlist? You son of a bitch. Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. This man. Did he get rid of his You bitch! He got rid of his playlist. I mean, this is a good ass playlist. Oh my god. Alright, give me a second. I also have to pee really quickly. If some shit happens, he yells at me. Big shot, but it sounds like a chance to be a big shot. Oh my god. I actually found good lyrical music.
I remember the minute, just like a switch was flipped.
Oh, my
Was
mother.
just a kid who grew up strong enough to pick this armor up and suddenly fit. God, that was so long ago, long ago, long ago.
What did she call me? She called me 11 minutes ago.
I was little, I was weak and perfectly naive, and I grew up too quick. Now you won't see all that I have to lose, and all I've lost in the fight to protect it. I won't let you in, I swore never again. I can't afford, no, I refuse to be rejected. I wanna break these bones till they're better. I wanna break them right and feel alive. You were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong, my fragile things, helpless things, broken things. I see the familiar. I was little, I was weak, I was perfect too. Now I'm a broken mirror, but I can't let you see all that I have to lose, all I've lost in the fight to protect it. I can't let you in, I swore never again. I can't afford to let myself be blindsided. I'm standing guard, I'm falling apart, and all I want is to trust you. Show me how to lay my sword down for long enough to let you through. Here I am, pry me open. What do you want to know? I'm just a kid who grew up scared enough to hold the door shut and buried my innocence. But here's a map, here's a shovel, here's my Achilles heel. I'm all in, palms out, I'm at your mercy now, and I'm ready to begin. I am strong, I am strong, I am strong enough to let you in. I'll shake the ground with all my might, and I will pull my whole heart up to the surface. For the innocent, for the vulnerable, and I'll show up on the front lines with a purpose. And I'll give all I have, I'll give my blood, give my sweat. An ocean of tears will spill for what is broken. I'm shattered porcelain, glued back together again. Invincible, like I've never been. Sweetheart, you look a little tired. When did you last eat? Come in and make yourself right at home. Stay as long as you need. Tell me something wrong, if something's wrong, you can count on me. You know I'll take my heart clean apart if it helps yours beat. It's okay if you can't find the words. Let me take your coat and this weight off of your shoulders. Like a force to be reckoned with, a mighty ocean or a gentle kiss. I will love you with every single thing I have. Like a tidal wave will make a mess, or calm waters if that serves you best. I will love you without any strings attached. It's okay if you can't catch your breath. You can take the oxygen straight out of my own chest. I know exactly how the rule goes. Put my mask on first. No, I don't want to talk about myself. Tell me where it hurts. I just want to build you up, build you up. don't even know where to start. Already tired of trying to recall when it all fell apart. I just wanna love you, to love you, to love you well. I just wanna learn how to somehow be loved myself. Like a force to be reckoned with, a mighty ocean or a gentle kiss. I will love you without any strings attached. And what a privilege it is to love, a great honor to hold you. Like a force to be reckoned with, a mighty ocean or a gentle kiss. I will love you with every single thing I have. Like a tidal wave will make a mess of cold waters if that serves you best. I will love you without any strings attached. I will love you without a single string attached.
Northern and Waterloo and City Lines and National Rail services. This train terminates at Stratford.
Wasting your time. You're wasting mine. I hate to see you leaving. Fate worse than dying. Your city gave me asthma, so that's why I'm fucking leaving. And your water gave me cancer, and the pavement hurt my feelings. Shout at the wall, 'cause the walls don't fucking love you. Shout at the wall,
I'm back.
'cause the walls don't fucking love you.
I'm not listening to that conversation. I just had to make this a weird shape. I just had to, didn't I? I'm not answering the phone. I'm not listening to that.
There's a reason London puts barriers on the tube line. There's a reason London puts barriers on the rails. There's a reason London puts barriers on the tube line. There's a reason London puts barriers on the rails. There's a reason London puts barriers on the tube line. There's a reason they fail.
Now, are you a thunderstorm or just normal rain? It's normal rain. I'm not answering the phone.
One, two, three, and four.
Keep fucking hitting the lights. Each time I died.
I'm not melodramatic, I'm just pragmatic beyond any reasoning for thinking I've got fucking rabies or something. I think it's time I'm dying.
My brain is not working anymore.
It's time I'm
That conversation fucking drained my energy.
lost my mind. The fact and the fictions while simultaneously fixing myself up with a girl named Panadol. Like the tablet elixir, disintegrate mouths a mixer. I think I've lost my mind. I think I've lost my mind. Just make one more line. Maybe I could wake up and feel alright. My optimistically set alarm clock serves on me flashing lights. I think I've made my choice. I'm the deceased playing victim. Slip the face, slip the victory. I think I've made my choice. Sink secluded in hatred. Avoid the plans friends are making. I think I've found my voice. I'm a leech sucking blood bags.
Sorry, I'm really quiet. That conversation fucking drained me.
Saline solution to all your saline solution to all your saline solution to all your problems.
Never knows that there was a laugh at the end of that. Oh my god. And now just switch to your sister is right. What? I didn't do that. I didn't do that shit. I couldn't love anyone. Turns out I'm gone. Not for the same reason as before.
I use everyone I ever meet. I can't
Find the perfect girl.
abused
As
as
I
I
loved.
loved. While I
Ostracize the ones that love me. Okay, I was like, there's now 2 layers of glass. Cool. Now I get the snow, but I don't get it here. What is this?
That I miss you, I feel the way you look. I don't deserve you, you deserve the world. Feels like we were built from the same dirt.
Oh my god, why?
I hate to say it, but your sister was right. Don't trust English boys with far too much free time. I hate to say it, but your sister was right. I'm nothing but a problem, leave you crying overnight. I hate to say it, but your sister was right. I can't focus on the future, only my short sight. I hate to say it, but your sister was right. I'm a wanker, complete wanker, a fucking waste of time.
There it is. Go to sleep. I like that my brain has just said no. And the fuck happened there? I feel so bad for my computer. My computer's like, what the fuck? What is happening? I think that's enough. Yeah, that's definitely enough. Actually, what time is it? It's 9:30. I think this is a good spot to end stream. Oh my god, the black does look better. Okay. Because I have to now contemplate things. Because now that I'm actually looking at it, it does look better. Shut the fuck up. Damn. I don't have world edit, so I can't just manually do this. Okay, but yeah. I will do all that stuff later. Alright, who's alive? Who can I go bully real fast? Actually, wait, I do want to see what they look like. Please don't give me an ad. It gave me an ad. Good sir, I came here just to see what their new... Oh my god! That looks so cool. I actually really like it. Okay. Sorry, I just want to see what the new mod looked like. I'm gonna refresh my... And this fucking thing! Oh, I was like, I'm not in a playlist. That makes a shit ton of sense. Someone's doing Stardew. Oh my god, they're gonna get a double raid. Oh, so he did not just say that fucking apple pie was superior. It's not. Alright. There we go. The raid has been created. Whoa. What's today? Tuesday? I actually don't know if I'll be streaming tomorrow. It's either that or it's gonna be a really hectic stream. But yeah. Definitely other than that. That's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and fucking suffering with me while I do a quiz. Okay, bye!